Part 1. The Whispers of a New Dawn. Long before the sprawling majesty of empires stretched across sun-drenched deserts. Before the most opulent of kings' meticulously crafted palaces adorned with glittering gold and rare lapis lazuli. And even preceding the moment when skilled scribes first began to delicately etch intricate stories onto tablets fashioned from humble clay, there existed in profound silence. It was a silence both vast and deep, broken only by the ethereal whispers of the wind as it gracefully swept across empty, primordial plains. This serene expanse was Mesopotamia, often reverently known as the land between rivers, an enchanting realm nestled quietly and profoundly between the life-giving Tigris and the majestic Euphrates. Here, the very world itself seemed to hold its breath, patiently awaiting its destiny beneath an endless, azure sky, its nascent form gently sculpted by the slow, deliberate movement of ancient waters. In the nascent dawn of civilization, life itself emerged with a quiet, almost hesitant caution, much like the first tender rays of morning sunlight. These gentle beams softly illuminated a world that had, for an immeasurable span of time, been cloaked in the deep embrace of shadow. Within the embrace of the Fertile Crescent, a crescent-shaped expanse of land rendered exceptionally rich by the nourishing silt meticulously deposited from the annual, benevolent floods, small, disparate groups of people gradually began to gather. These earliest of settlers were, at their core, wanderers, driven by an inherent curiosity and a primal need. They were guided initially by the winding courses of rivers and the unwavering luminescence of distant stars, drifting gracefully across landscapes that possessed a tender, inviting beauty. Their ceaseless quest was for places where the generous earth readily yielded its sweet figs, its plump, succulent dates, and an abundance of life-sustaining grain. Slowly, with the gentle, almost imperceptible passage of centuries, like the soft, ever-widening ripples across the surface of still waters, these ancient wanderers began to unravel the profound secrets meticulously hidden within the fertile soils beneath their feet. They made the astonishing discovery that by the simple yet revolutionary act of planting seeds, they possessed the power to coax the land itself into providing an unfailing source of food. Year after painstaking year, agriculture, perhaps humanity's single greatest and most transformative invention, was quietly yet profoundly born beside these very rivers. Within the hallowed lands that would one day come to be known universally as Mesopotamia. From this seemingly simple yet utterly pivotal act of planting seeds, rudimentary villages began to organically coalesce and take form. Huts, ingeniously constructed from reeds and mud, gradually sprang up along the life-giving riverbanks, serving as focal points where families congregated beneath the vast, stardusted skies. The stars, in their celestial grandeur, seemed impossibly close, as though they were watching protectively from an ethereal realm above. Within these humble, earthly dwellings, people quietly whispered dreams of enduring stability, of bountiful abundance, and of a life less beholden to the whims of nature. And slowly, painstakingly, over the course of countless generations, these tender dreams began their remarkable, gradual transformation into tangible reality. As these villages multiplied and prospered along the winding courses of the Tigris and Euphrates, the fabric of daily life began to weave itself into increasingly intricate patterns, growing notably more complex. Vast fields necessitated meticulous organization. Intricate irrigation channels demanded careful, constant tending to ensure their efficacy. And so, these nascent communities learned the invaluable lessons of cooperation and communication, skills essential for their collective survival and advancement. Gradually, these smaller, disparate groups seamlessly coalesced into larger, more cohesive settlements. It was around this profoundly transformative period, nearly 6 millennia ago, that the first truly monumental cities began their majestic ascent from the fertile earth of southern Mesopotamia. Among these pioneering urban centers stood Uruk, a city whose very name would reverberate with enduring power and significance across countless millennia. Here, within Uruk's burgeoning embrace, humanity embarked upon one of its most remarkable and audacious leaps forward. Uruk transcended the mere definition of a settlement. It blossomed into a city of extraordinary innovation and unparalleled dynamism. It became home to many thousands of people who dedicated their lives to living and working diligently within its protective, formidable walls. Life within Uruk revolved intimately around its magnificent, awe-inspiring temple complex. High above the flat, expansive landscape, a monumental ziggurat majestically rose, a stepped, pyramid-like structure meticulously constructed from sun-dried mud bricks, baked to enduring strength under the sun's gentle, life-giving warmth. This colossal ziggurat, reverently dedicated to Anu, the venerable sky god, and Inanna, the potent goddess of love and fertility, stood as both the spiritual epicenter and the vital civic hub of the burgeoning city. Around its broad, sacred base, people habitually gathered for solemn rituals and joyous celebrations, fervently seeking the divine favor of gods who seemed to exist in a paradox of closeness and distance. Simultaneously familiar yet profoundly mysterious. As Uruk continued its remarkable ascent and thrived, skilled artisans began to meticulously craft pottery adorned with delicate, intricate designs. These patterns were thoughtfully inspired by the gentle undulations of river currents, the graceful forms of animals, and the celestial dance of heavenly bodies. Carpenters, with their precise measurements, and metalworkers, with their deft hands, expertly shaped essential tools from the resilient properties of copper and the stronger, more advanced alloy of bronze, instruments that were instrumental in coaxing forth even more abundant and sustaining harvests from the fertile land. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, vibrant markets began to emerge beneath the sheltering awnings fashioned from woven reeds. These nascent commercial centers were filled with the lively, rhythmic chatter of discerning merchants, engaged in the intricate art of bartering. They exchanged precious barley, soft wool, functional pottery, and exquisitely delicate beads meticulously carved from the highly prized lapis lazuli. This brilliant blue stone, reminiscent of the deepest skies, was painstakingly brought from distant, towering mountains, catching the sunlight in such a way that it sparkled like tiny, fragmented pieces of the heavens themselves, fallen gracefully to earth. Yet, perhaps the single most revolutionary and enduring innovation to emerge from Uruk was quietly born within the hallowed confines of the temple complex, among the diligent scribes who toiled there. Confronted with the ever-increasing complexity of burgeoning trade networks and the intricate demands of early administration, these pioneering record-keepers began to press simple pictograms onto soft, pliable clay tablets. These rudimentary marks were designed to represent essential commodities such as grain, sheep, oil, and numerical quantities. This humble, practical act, initially intended merely to meticulously track provisions and accurately record payments, serendipitously marked the true birth of writing itself. It was the very first form of human expression that could be preserved beyond the fragile confines of individual memory. This nascent system, later known as cuneiform, a term meaning wedge-shaped, developed with astonishing rapidity. It swiftly evolved from its simple pictographic origins into an elaborate, sophisticated system, remarkably capable of capturing and preserving complex stories, ancient myths, fundamental laws, and even the fleeting essence of human dreams. In the fullness of time, cuneiform tablets would eloquently carry the very voices of revered poets and powerful kings, legendary heroes and devout priests, allowing their narratives to resonate across thousands of years, bridging vast chasms of time. However, in its earliest, most formative days, writing served as a purely practical tool, granting people, for the very first time, the unprecedented ability to preserve vital information far beyond the finite span of their own individual lives. As Uruk continued its remarkable flourishing, other cities too began their steady ascent along the fertile, life-sustaining riverbanks. Among these was Eridu, widely recognized as one of the most ancient cities in the world, which transformed into a sacred pilgrimage site, reverently dedicated to Enki, the venerable god of wisdom and life-giving fresh waters. Further to the south, the city of Uar, A place destined to be the birthplace of kings yet unborn, majestically appeared, its towering temple structures rising with an ethereal grace toward the heavens themselves. Trade routes, like intricate veins, extended far beyond the immediate boundaries of Mesopotamia, reaching into the distant, exotic lands of Egypt, the rugged territories of Anatolia, and the enigmatic Indus Valley. Caravans, laden with precious metals, rare exotic woods, and exquisite, highly sought-after stones, embarked on arduous journeys across vast deserts and imposing mountains. These ancient trade networks intimately connected the diverse peoples of these early civilizations in a vibrant, dynamic web of cultural exchange and mutual enrichment. Yet, even amidst this continually expanding and increasingly complex civilization, life retained a gentle, comforting rhythm, governed by the immutable cycles of flood and bounteous harvest. Of the radiant sun and the serene moon, the gods remained an ever-present force, their names softly whispered in fervent prayers beneath the endless, star-filled skies. The rivers, while undeniably the source of all life, occasionally overflowed their banks with an unpredictable surge, serving as a powerful, humbling reminder to the people of their inherent vulnerability and their profound, unshakable dependence on the immense, often awe-inspiring forces of nature. At the very heart of these early, interconnected communities lay a profound, collective sense that humanity was an integral part of something far greater than themselves. It was a world brimming with an exquisite mystery, inhabited by powerful gods, and infused with a gentle, pervasive wonder. Life itself moved with the inherent grace and steady flow of the rivers, slow yet absolutely certain, ever-changing yet comfortingly familiar. And so, under the soft, comforting glow of moonlight, beneath the silent gaze of constellations that had steadfastly guided humanity since time immemorial, the people of Mesopotamia peacefully slept. They slept secure in the quiet knowledge that the dawn would inevitably arrive, bringing with it yet another day of gentle progress, of quiet, unassuming discoveries, and of dreams that stretched far beyond the visible boundaries of their immediate horizons. Little could they have known that their humble settlements and their seemingly simple innovations would, in time, become the foundational bedrock upon which all subsequent civilizations would inevitably rise. Part 2: The flourishing tapestry of Sumerian life. In the early, tender days of Mesopotamia, life flowed with a quiet, unhurried grace along the riverbanks, carried gently forward by the nourishing waters that continually invigorated the land. Each sunrise meticulously painted the horizon in ethereal hues of molten gold and soft lavender, unveiling endless, verdant fields of barley, swaying with a gentle, hypnotic rhythm beneath the morning breeze. Villagers awakened to the comforting, familiar sounds of softly murmuring rivers and the joyous singing of birds, beginning their days much as their ancestors had for untold generations, intimately bound to the timeless rhythms established by nature itself. Yet, even amidst this tranquil simplicity, the potent seeds of remarkable, transformative change were slowly, almost imperceptibly, taking deep root. As Uruk and Eridu blossomed into bustling, thriving cities, people began to craft more than just purely practical tools. They embarked on the profound journey of shaping culture itself. Clay pottery, once confined to mere functionality, evolved beyond its utilitarian purpose, gradually taking on forms of exquisite elegance and refined artistry. Decorative motifs, intricately depicting the winding courses of rivers, the shimmering expanse of stars, the forms of beloved animals, and the majestic figures of gods, gracefully adorned cups and bowls. These artistic embellishments subtly symbolized the deep, inherent connection between humanity and the vast, intricate natural world that enveloped them. Music, too, seamlessly wove itself into the fabric of everyday life. On warm, balmy evenings, beneath a sky ablaze with the countless diamonds of starlight, haunting melodies drifted gently through the air, carrying unspoken narratives. Harps, flutes, and lyres, meticulously carved from local wood or precious ivory, echoed softly, eloquently telling stories without the need for words, tales of revered gods, legendary heroes, the enduring power of love. and the inexorable passage of time. These gentle, evocative tunes offered profound comfort to listeners, fostering a deep sense of communal bonding through shared moments of serene peace. This era also marked a period when humanity's relationship with the divine deepened with profound significance. Temples, painstakingly constructed brick by precious brick, majestically reached skyward, drawing the eyes and the reverence of the populace toward the heavens. Within the sacred, hallowed spaces of the towering ziggurats, devout priests and priestesses meticulously conducted elaborate rituals, fervently praying for abundant harvests, for divine protection from devastating floods, and for profound wisdom in times of gnawing uncertainty. The gods, Enki, the wise and benevolent deity of fresh waters, Anu, the majestic lord of the boundless sky, and Inanna, the vibrant goddess of fertility, were widely believed to reside among the clouds, watching protectively over humanity from their exalted perch above. Each city held a fierce, unwavering devotion to its own patron deity, firmly believing that their chosen god or goddess vigilantly safeguarded their well-being and ensured their enduring prosperity. In Uruk, the people honored Inanna with elaborate celebrations brimming with joyous feasts, energetic dancing, and evocative poetry that lavishly praised her boundless vitality and creative force. At Eridu, eager pilgrims embarked on arduous journeys to worship Enki, the wise guardian of profound knowledge and life-sustaining freshwater springs, whose soft whispers were rumored to bring profound clarity to troubled, anxious minds. Life, however, was not without its inherent trials and tribulations. The very same rivers that generously nourished abundant crops could, at times, overflow with unpredictable and devastating fury, sweeping away homes and entire fields in sudden, overwhelming floods that felt like the terrifying wrath of displeased gods. Yet the people responded to such formidable challenges with an astonishing blend of resilience and innovative creativity. They diligently developed sophisticated systems of irrigation, meticulously constructing canals, sturdy dams, and expansive reservoirs. These early, ingenious engineering marvels transformed what was often a hostile and unpredictable environment into one where humans could not only survive but truly thrive. With careful, foresightful planning, they gradually learned to harness the immense power of the rivers, gently guiding their life-giving waters into vast fields of barley, golden wheat, and nourishing lentils, thereby cultivating an unprecedented abundance where once gnawing uncertainty had prevailed. As generations quietly passed, these thriving communities continued to draw a steady influx of newcomers from across the fertile plains. People arrived from distant, smaller villages, eagerly seeking the enhanced security and the promise of prosperity offered by Mesopotamia's burgeoning city-states. With each new arrival, the social structure of these urban centers grew incrementally more complex and stratified. Skilled craftsmen, astute traders, expert builders, and talented artists significantly enriched the vibrancy of city life, each contributing their diverse talents and unique perspectives to a shared vision of communal prosperity and enduring well-being. Yet, amidst this growing prosperity and increasing societal complexity, humanity began to encounter entirely new and unforeseen challenges. The accumulation of wealth, for instance, inadvertently created distinct social divisions and hierarchies. Early leaders emerged, venerated priests and formidable warrior chieftains, who adeptly guided their communities through the delicate intricacies of diplomacy or the stark realities of conflict. Competition, at times intense, arose among neighboring cities, occasionally escalating into periods of tension and outright disputes. Walls, formidable and imposing, began to encircle cities like Uruk and Uar, standing as both tangible testaments to the ever-present need for protection and as powerful symbols of civic pride and remarkable achievement. Even so, the age of cities largely remained a period of relative peace, marked more by the spirit of cooperation than by pervasive conflict. Trade flourished along the network of rivers and well-worn caravan routes, gracefully spreading Mesopotamian culture and its myriad innovations far beyond the immediate confines of the Tigris and Euphrates. precious metals journeyed from the rugged lands of Anatolia. The brilliant lapis lazuli arrived from distant Afghanistan, and sturdy timber made its way from the majestic cedar forests of Lebanon. In return, Mesopotamian pottery, finely woven textiles, and abundant grain traveled outward, meticulously building bridges of commerce and enduring friendship across wide, interconnected lands, fostering a sense of shared prosperity. Perhaps the greatest and most enduring gift these early Mesopotamians bestowed upon the world was the profound art of storytelling. Around the comforting glow of evening fires, revered elders eloquently recounted tales of creation, thrilling adventures, and heroic deeds, thereby meticulously passing down invaluable knowledge and cherished wisdom from one generation to the next, ensuring its timeless continuity. Foremost among these ancient legends was the captivating story of Gilgamesh, the legendary king of Uruk, whose extraordinary life seamlessly blended elements of history, profound myth, and exquisite poetry. Gilgamesh, often described as two-thirds god and one-third human, powerfully embodied both the soaring dreams and the gnawing fears of his people. In the epic tale, he embarked on a perilous journey across distant, unknown lands, relentlessly seeking the elusive promise of immortality, but ultimately discovering the profound beauty inherent in life's delicate fragility and the quiet, enduring joy found in simple human companionship. Though Gilgamesh's valiant quest for eternal life ultimately remained unfulfilled, the story itself achieved a remarkable, timeless immortality. Meticulously etched in cuneiform onto resilient clay tablets, preserved across countless millennia for future generations to uncover and cherish. Stories such as these provided immense comfort and a deeper understanding in a world that often appeared vast, enigmatic, and inherently unpredictable. They served as powerful, poignant reminders to the people of their profound connection to something far greater than themselves, a continuous lineage stretching back to the very dawn of human existence, and stretching forward into an uncertain yet hopeful future. And so, beneath the gentle, silver glow of stars and the softly luminous light of moons, the people of Mesopotamia meticulously built lives characterized by quiet dignity and ever-growing sophistication. Their dreams were not of brutal conquest or sprawling empire, but rather of enduring stability and profound contentment. They yearned for the simple, profound joy of witnessing their children grow strong and resilient, and for their communities to flourish in an embrace of undisturbed peace. Little could they have truly known that their quiet innovations, their writing, their laws, their art, would someday form the very foundational pillars of all subsequent human civilization. Their humble cities, their gentle, evocative music, their meticulously kept records, and their rich, compelling storytelling would reverberate through the corridors of time, subtly yet profoundly shaping cultures yet unborn. As night once again gracefully embraced the fertile plains nestled between the rivers, a gentle, pervasive peace settled over the myriad city-states of ancient Mesopotamia. Men and women, young children and wise elders alike, slept soundly beneath softly drifting clouds, feeling secure within their homes, meticulously constructed from sun-dried bricks. The gentle murmur of the rivers carried their dreams forward into the quiet expanse of the night, toward a future brimming with the promise of great kings and mighty empires yet unseen. But for that moment, Mesopotamia rested quietly, comforted by the reassuring, tender presence of gods who watched benevolently from above, serving as vigilant guardians of a civilization slowly yet profoundly awakening to its extraordinary, unfolding destiny. Part 3: The Dawn of Sumer and its enduring legacy. As centuries quietly, imperceptibly passed in Mesopotamia, small, nascent villages had gently and organically evolved into vibrant, dynamic cities, breathing life and culture along the fertile, life-giving banks of the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. Now, a new and profoundly significant chapter began to unfold beneath the warm, life-affirming Mesopotamian sun, the advent of Sumer. Sumer, a civilization poised to transform humble beginnings into lasting, awe-inspiring wonders, emerged around 5,000 years ago, nestled serenely in southern Mesopotamia. It was a fascinating patchwork of independent city-states, each rising organically from the rich, yielding soil and fueled by the shared dreams of collective prosperity. These distinct city-states, Uruk, Lagash, Eridu, and Nippur, each grew and developed independently, gradually becoming unique, self-contained worlds unto themselves. Yet, despite their fierce individual pride and autonomy, the people of Sumer were connected by an invisible, profound thread, bound together deeply by a shared language, a common religion, and a pervasive, unifying culture. Each city-state proudly possessed its own specific guardian deity, a divine protector believed to guide daily life and watch vigilantly over the populace from within towering sacred temples. In the city of Uar, the venerable moon god, Nana, reigned supreme over nights filled with the soft, ethereal glow of silver moonlight. In Lagash, the god Ningirsa meticulously oversaw the abundant harvests and ensured a plentiful supply of nourishing grain. The city of Nippur, in its profound reverence, honored Enlil, the mighty god of air and storms, whose powerful voice was heard in the resonant crash of thunderstorms and the gentle whisper of soft breezes alike. At the very heart of each city, majestically rose the ziggurat, a monumental temple whose step terraces reached ever skyward, serving as an architectural bridge between the earthly realm and the divine heavens. Meticulously constructed with sun-baked mud bricks, carefully laid one upon another, these ziggurats symbolize the Sumerians' profound, inherent desire to connect with the divine. Each ziggurat glowed softly in warm, golden hues at the tender transition of dawn and dusk, their imposing forms visible for miles around, serving as an unmistakable signal of the sacred, spiritual heart of each unique city-state. Beneath the imposing grandeur of these sacred structures, bustling markets teemed with life, filled with the vibrant sounds of merchants actively bartering their diverse goods. Traders, having journeyed from distant lands, brought with them a treasure trove of precious stones, finely woven cloths, glistening copper, and fragrant, exotic spices. Local craftsmen proudly showcased their exquisite pottery, meticulously painted with intricate geometric designs and graceful depictions of animals, along with bronze tools forged with unparalleled skill and precision, and intricately woven garments that radiated beauty and artistry. The narrow streets softly hummed with the vibrant symphony of daily life, conversations blending seamlessly like the flowing waters of their beloved, life-sustaining rivers. In the homes that lined these narrow, winding streets, daily life unfolded to gentle, comforting rhythms. Families awoke early, before the sun crested the horizon, to meticulously tend their fields, which were gracefully irrigated by an intricate network of canals that delicately wove their way through the verdant landscape. Children, their laughter light and carefree, played in the cool, shaded courtyards, their joyous sounds carried softly by the warm, caressing breezes. Women and men shared responsibilities with an equitable grace, diligently grinding grain, baking fragrant bread in traditional clay ovens, and spinning soft wool into garments that provided comforting warmth against the cool, enveloping evenings. Yet, Sumer was far more than a realm of simple domestic tranquility. The Sumerians were pioneers of remarkable innovations, subtly yet profoundly reshaping civilization itself. Foremost among these groundbreaking achievements was their sophisticated system of writing, cuneiform, which was now evolving with astonishing swiftness into an incredibly powerful and versatile tool of communication and record-keeping. What had initially begun as rudimentary accounting records had now transformed into a complex, nuanced script, remarkably capable of capturing intricate poetry, detailing sweeping historical narratives, preserving advanced mathematical concepts, charting celestial astronomy, and even codifying fundamental laws. Scribes, working with painstaking meticulousness, used sharpened reeds to precisely press wedge-shaped marks into soft, pliable clay tablets, once baked under the warmth of the sun. These tablets preserved invaluable knowledge for countless generations, their inscribed voices whispering gently across millennia, carrying the echoes of ancient wisdom. Schools began to appear near the temples, quiet, dedicated rooms where young, aspiring scribes painstakingly learned their intricate craft with immense patience and meticulous precision. Students practiced for long, arduous hours, copying symbols repeatedly, diligently mastering skills that would ultimately enable their civilization's profound wisdom to endure the relentless passage of time. Alongside their revolutionary advancements in writing, the Sumerians also ingeniously invented essential technologies that subtly yet profoundly altered the fabric of everyday life. The wheel, a humble yet undeniably revolutionary innovation, made its very first appearance in Sumer. Initially, wheels were simple, solid discs of wood, somewhat crudely attached to carts, significantly simplifying the arduous transport of heavy loads such as grain, clay bricks, and precious metals. Soon after, skilled potters brilliantly adapted the wheel to shape graceful pottery, allowing them to swiftly and uniformly spin vessels, transforming a practical craft into an exquisite art form. Mathematics, too, blossomed in Sumer, driven by practical, everyday needs. The Sumerians developed a highly sophisticated numbering system based on the number 60, thereby laying the fundamental groundwork for the 60-minute hour and the 360-degree circle that we continue to utilize universally today. Merchants swiftly calculated complex debts and intricate transactions, while meticulous astronomers carefully charted the precise movements of stars and planets, observing the celestial cycles that so critically guided their planting and harvesting seasons. Indeed, the vast, shimmering skies above Sumer held an immense fascination for its people. Astronomers, perched atop temple towers, observed the night sky with a profound sense of awe and reverence, deeply believing that the intricate movements of celestial bodies contained vital messages from the gods themselves. These pioneering stargazers meticulously charted constellations, accurately recorded the ephemeral occurrences of eclipses, and painstakingly documented the ever-changing lunar phases. Their observations were not merely scientific in nature but were imbued with a deep, spiritual significance, seamlessly blending precise knowledge with a profound sense of wonder and humility. Medicine, too, emerged quietly as both an art and a science within Sumer. Physicians combined careful, empirical observation with practical, effective remedies drawn directly from the abundant resources of nature. Clay tablets, inscribed with meticulous detail, contain prescriptions for herbal mixtures, soothing ointments, and healing salves, often alongside gentle prayers fervently seeking healing from compassionate deities. This unique blend of practical wisdom and spiritual comfort provided profound reassurance in times of illness, powerfully reflecting a society that deeply valued the harmonious balance between humanity and the divine. Despite their remarkable advancements, the Sumerians frequently faced formidable challenges. The very same rivers that nurtured life and sustained their crops could, at times, bring devastating floods, washing away fields and homes with sudden, overwhelming fury. Yet, each flood served as a valuable, albeit harsh, lesson. Canals were meticulously made wider and deeper, levees were constructed higher, and cities became increasingly safer. Cooperation became absolutely essential, fostering an enduring sense of community and profound resilience. Through shared effort and collective ingenuity, the people of Sumer learned to manage the often unpredictable forces of nature, gently guiding the rivers to ensure lasting prosperity and security for all. Amidst this delicate balance of groundbreaking innovation and cherished tradition, Sumerian society grew steadily more structured and organized. Kings emerged, not as absolute, tyrannical rulers, but as revered protectors and wise leaders, believed to be specifically chosen by the gods. These early kings diligently maintained the sacred temples, bravely led armies when threats inevitably arose, and meticulously ensured justice among their people. Their authority, however, remained intimately tied to divine approval, a bond powerfully symbolized in sacred rituals that consistently reminded rulers of their profound responsibility to selflessly serve the community. Within this stable and well-ordered framework, Sumer continued to thrive, its cities expanding in quiet grandeur beneath the vast blue skies. People shared captivating stories beneath the starlit nights. Tales of powerful gods and graceful goddesses, of legendary heroes and the ordinary lives shaped by courage and profound wisdom. They possessed little knowledge of the vast, unfolding future that awaited their civilization. Their thoughts were primarily focused on family, on community, and on the daily rhythms that brought gentle joy and a quiet, profound purpose to their lives. Yet, history would remember Sumer with remarkable clarity. Its humble yet groundbreaking innovations, its writing, its wheels, its sophisticated mathematics, and its structured societies, would ripple outward across countless centuries, laying firm, unshakable foundations upon which all future civilizations would meticulously build. And so, beneath the soft, enchanting glow of twilight, the people of Sumer rested quietly, blissfully unaware that their gentle progress and profound contributions would echo forever, shaping the course of human history. Part 4. Daily Life and Cultural Splendor in Sumer. The cities of Sumer flourished gently and organically beneath the benevolent Mesopotamian sun, each meticulously building upon the profound innovations and cherished customs gracefully passed down through countless generations. Daily life was intricately and richly woven with sacred rituals and comforting routines, all guided by an unwavering, deep devotion to harmony, to profound wisdom, and to the divine essence that permeated their existence. In every conceivable aspect of their society, the Sumerians embraced a delicate and careful balance. A balance between pioneering innovation and profound reverence, between practical necessity and spiritual enlightenment, and between the needs of the collective community and the blossoming of individual expression. At the very heart of this intricate balance stood the temples, which served as the majestic, pulsating centers of Sumerian civilization. Within their sacred, hallowed walls, priests and priestesses conducted solemn rituals with an air of quiet dignity, their voices rising softly in earnest prayers and resonant chants, all dedicated to the gods who vigilantly watched over humanity. These temples were not merely spiritual sanctuaries. They also functioned as vital cultural hubs, storing vast quantities of precious grain in immense storehouses, meticulously recording harvests and trade transactions, and extending crucial shelter and aid in times of profound hardship. Here, diligent scribes meticulously chronicled the daily events of life, births, marriages, significant happenings, ensuring that a comprehensive record of life itself was carefully preserved for generations yet unborn, a testament to the enduring human story. Beyond these sacred spaces, the lives of ordinary people moved with the quiet, predictable rhythm of the cultivated fields and the bustling marketplaces. Each morning, before the sun even crested the horizon, farmers set out to meticulously tend their crops: barley, wheat, onions, garlic, and dates, all gently watered by an intricate network of irrigation canals, carefully maintained by the collective efforts of the community. Shepherds skillfully guided their flocks to verdant pastures, the soft, rhythmic bleating of sheep blending seamlessly with the cheerful morning songs of birds, creating a harmonious symphony of nature. Craftsmen and craftswomen, with skilled hands and creative minds, opened their workshops, diligently shaping clay into vessels, spinning wool into fine textiles, forging bronze into sturdy tools, and carving wood into both useful implements and graceful, aesthetically pleasing objects that filled homes with a sense of warmth and simple, understated beauty. Markets sprang to life as the day brightened, filled with a kaleidoscope of colorful awnings that provided welcome shade for merchants as they actively exchanged goods and animated stories beneath the sun's gentle, warming embrace. Here, transactions occurred with an ease born of comfortable conversation and shared laughter, neighbors readily bartering grain for textiles, pottery for exotic spices, and sturdy copper tools for delicate beads of shimmering lapis lazuli. Commerce, in this context, was more than a mere exchange of goods. It was a deeply ingrained ritual of friendship and profound connection, meticulously binding communities together through mutual benefit and an overarching sense of shared goodwill. Education, too, began to flourish significantly during this period. The first known schools emerged in Sumer, modest buildings typically situated near temples, where young, eager scribes sat patiently, meticulously pressing reed styluses into soft clay tablets. They delved into the intricacies of literature, the logic of mathematics, the mysteries of astronomy, and the narratives of history. Teachers, often strict yet profoundly caring, diligently instilled in their students the paramount importance of accuracy, the virtue of patience, and a deep, abiding respect for knowledge itself. Graduates of these esteemed schools would go on to become indispensable administrators, skilled scribes, revered priests, and influential community leaders, guiding their respective city-states with wisdom and compassionate foresight. The Sumerians also cherished their leisure time, embracing life's gentle pleasures with genuine enthusiasm and vibrant creativity. Festivals, celebrated at regular intervals throughout the year, brought communities together in joyous, effervescent gatherings. Streets swelled with the enchanting sounds of music, the poetic rhythm of spoken verse, the joyous energy of dancing, and the aroma of abundant feasting as citizens honored their patron deities with heartfelt devotion and profound reverence. The festival of the New Year was particularly beloved, marking the sacred renewal of life and the land itself, a time of profound hope and new beginnings. During these vibrant celebrations, even kings openly participated, reinforcing the vital bonds between rulers and citizens in a shared spirit of unity and unadulterated joy. Yet Sumer was not without its inevitable trials and tribulations. Its flourishing prosperity occasionally drew the unwelcome envy of nomadic peoples residing beyond its well-defined borders. Tensions between rival city-states also arose periodically, often fueled by intense competition over vital resources such as precious water and fertile agricultural lands. Wars, while infrequent, were not entirely unknown, though they were often brief in duration and typically resolved through the delicate art of diplomacy rather than prolonged and destructive violence. Armies, largely composed of citizen soldiers armed with bronze spears and shields, would gather to bravely protect their beloved cities. Yet, even in times of conflict, the Sumerians consistently sought swift resolution, preferring the enduring stability of peace to the incessant turmoil of ongoing strife. It was within this historical context that the world's earliest known comprehensive laws began to appear. Rulers initiated the issuance of meticulously crafted legal codes, inscribed in cuneiform onto resilient clay tablets and grand stone monuments, which were then prominently displayed in city squares for all to see and understand. These early laws were eminently practical, meticulously covering disputes over property ownership, trade agreements, marriage contracts, and fundamental community obligations. They powerfully reflected a society deeply committed to fairness, to societal stability, and to the harmonious coexistence of its members. Citizens gathered before these public monuments, clearly understanding their rights and their responsibilities, gently guided by rules explicitly intended to preserve peace and ensure widespread prosperity for all. While daily life and sophisticated governance steadily developed, Sumerian culture blossomed beautifully, especially in the realms of literature and the timeless art of storytelling. Poets and scribes meticulously crafted epic tales, fervent hymns, heartfelt prayers, and insightful wisdom literature that eloquently explored the depths of human emotions, the profound mysteries of the divine, and practical guidance for life's often arduous journey. Foremost among these literary masterpieces was the Epic of Gilgamesh, now refined and significantly expanded, recounting the legendary king's profound adventures and his heartfelt, often desperate search for elusive immortality. These compelling stories provided immense comfort and a deeper understanding, gently teaching audiences about human fragility, the enduring power of courage, and the serene acceptance of life's fleeting nature. Sumerians also excelled in the realm of art and intricate sculpture. Skilled artisans meticulously carved statues depicting gods, powerful kings, and ordinary people, capturing expressions of quiet dignity and serene, understated beauty. Bronze sculptures, finely crafted pottery, intricate cylinder seals, and delicate jewelry adorned with shimmering semi-precious stones revealed a highly refined aesthetic, emphasizing balance, symmetry, and a profound respect for nature's inherent, wondrous beauty. Architecture, too, evolved steadily and impressively. Homes became notably larger and significantly more comfortable. Meticulously constructed of mud bricks carefully shaped by hand and dried under the warm, benevolent sunlight. Inner courtyards thoughtfully brought fresh air and gentle, diffused light into family spaces, creating peaceful, secluded retreats within the bustling urban centers. Palaces and temples grew increasingly elaborate, their walls exquisitely decorated with vibrant, colorful murals and intricate carvings illustrating vivid scenes from daily life and captivating mythological tales. Even the urban layout of Sumerian cities powerfully reflected their meticulous attention to harmony and order. Streets were thoughtfully arranged, orderly and logically designed, gently guiding residents through city centers toward the majestic temple complexes and the vibrant marketplaces. Modest yet highly functional sewer systems also appeared, illustrating the practical yet refined approach the Sumerians brought to urban living and public health. As day gracefully turned to night, the cities of Sumer settled quietly beneath a vast, enveloping blanket of stars. Families gathered intimately together in their homes, softly illuminated by the flickering glow of oil lamps, sharing simple meals and recounting the day's events and observations. Children listened eagerly, their eyes wide with wonder, to stories recounted by elders, tales filled with gentle wisdom, thrilling adventures, and comforting moral lessons. Under this peaceful evening sky, life in Sumer continued much as it had for generations, quietly progressive, thoughtfully balanced between cherished tradition and transformative innovation. People rested easily, feeling secure within their homes and at peace within their hearts, comforted by the profound knowledge that their civilization's quiet accomplishments, in writing, law, architecture, and art, would gently echo across time, subtly yet powerfully shaping countless generations yet to come. As sleep settled softly over the city-states of Sumer, no one could truly know the profound and lasting impact their daily lives and humble innovations would ultimately have on the grand narrative of human history. Yet, beneath stars that shone with eternal, unwavering calm, a civilization dreamed quietly, unknowingly preparing to hand its enduring legacy forward to humanity's great, unfolding story. Part 5. The Rise of Sargon and the Akkadian Empire. Under the vast, overarching Mesopotamian sky, change often arrived gently, like the slow, deliberate rise of the moon, quietly illuminating lands that had long been familiar. Yet, sometimes, history moved with startling swiftness, carried forward by the extraordinary will of singular individuals whose audacious ambitions profoundly reshaped the very course of civilizations. Such was the compelling story of Sargon, a humble figure who, against all odds, rose from profound obscurity to become one of the world's very first great empire builders. Sargon's tale begins shrouded in mystery, wrapped in layers of captivating legend and quiet wonder. Born around 2334 BC, the precise details of his early life remain softly obscured by the inexorable passage of time. Mesopotamian scribes, generations later, meticulously recorded his story with a delicate touch of poetic imagination, whispering that Sargon had been gently placed as a newborn in a humble reed basket and set adrift upon the serene waters of the Euphrates River. This poignant, almost mythical beginning was remarkably reminiscent of other great leaders yet to be born, subtly foreshadowing his extraordinary destiny. Discovered and rescued by a kind gardener named Akkad, Sargon was raised in humble, unassuming surroundings. His childhood was one characterized by quiet dignity and diligent hard work, spent tending gardens beneath the golden, benevolent Mesopotamian sun, his days meticulously marked by simplicity and a clear sense of purpose. Yet, even as he grew, Sargon felt something profoundly greater stirring within him, an ambition, quiet yet persistent, like a determined river steadily carving its unwavering path through solid stone. In these nascent days, Sumer remained a land of fiercely independent city-states, each intensely proud of its unique identity and cherished autonomy. Yet, beneath the veneer of peace and burgeoning prosperity, rivalries quietly simmered, like hidden embers waiting to ignite. Tensions occasionally escalated over contested land and crucial water rights, control of lucrative trade routes, and spheres of regional influence. Into this delicate and often precarious balance stepped Sargon, whose visionary ambition for unity would forever transform the political and cultural landscape of Mesopotamia. His remarkable path toward greatness began quietly, with Sargon serving humbly as a cupbearer for the ruler of the city-state of Kish, King Nuarzababa. Though a humble position, it strategically placed Sargon in close proximity to power, allowing him to meticulously observe the intricate workings of statecraft and the subtle art of diplomacy. Sargon watched, learned, and patiently waited for the opportune moment to reveal his true, extraordinary potential. That moment arrived unexpectedly, like a significant whisper carried by gentle, guiding winds. Kish, much like many other cities of the time, faced frequent and often intense conflicts with neighboring states, particularly with the formidable city-state of Uruk, then ruled by the powerful king Lugalzagisi. As tensions escalated, Sargon swiftly, decisively, yet with remarkable cunning, seized his opportunity. Gathering a loyal following among both seasoned soldiers and common citizens who deeply admired his burgeoning wisdom and undeniable courage, Sargon quietly raised an army, a force modest in size yet fiercely dedicated to his cause. When the moment was precisely right, he moved with swift, calculated precision, taking control of Kish and establishing himself as its new, undisputed ruler. Rather than dwelling on internal strife or local disputes, he swiftly turned his gaze outward. Guided by a bold vision that no leader before him had ever dared to pursue, a grand vision of a unified Mesopotamia. City by city, Sargon meticulously expanded his dominion. His approach was a careful, balanced blend of astute diplomacy and decisive force. Many cities, recognizing the inherent advantage of unity over constant conflict, peacefully surrendered to his authority. Others briefly resisted, their defenses swiftly overcome by the relentless pressure of Sargon's disciplined and well-organized forces. Each city he captured, Sargon treated with a gentle yet firm hand, meticulously preserving their temples and cherished traditions, and allowing local leaders to retain a measure of dignity while clearly asserting his own overarching authority. In a dramatic and pivotal confrontation, Sargon faced the immensely powerful Lugalzagisi of Uruk, who had recently laid claim to dominance over much of southern Mesopotamia. The clash was swift and utterly decisive. Sargon's forces, though perhaps numerically modest, moved with unparalleled precision, guided by their leader's strategic brilliance. Lugalzagisi was thoroughly defeated, his city peacefully integrated into Sargon's rapidly expanding dominion. This profound victory symbolized a quiet yet monumental shift, a transition from a fragmented landscape of independent city-states toward the groundbreaking formation of the world's first true empire. With Mesopotamia now united under his gentle but firm rule, Sargon meticulously constructed a new capital city, Akkad, strategically situated near the life-giving Tigris and Euphrates rivers. Akkad transcended the mere definition of a city. It became the vibrant, beating heart of a dynamic new civilization. This civilization seamlessly combined elements of ancient Sumerian culture with innovative practices uniquely Akkadian. Its streets softly buzzed with the ceaseless activity of merchants, skilled artisans, diligent scribes, and disciplined soldiers, all drawn from across Sargon's newly formed empire, blending diverse languages, cherished traditions, and novel ideas into a harmonious, vibrant whole. One of Sargon's most transformative actions was his deliberate embrace of Akkadian as the official language for administration, commerce, and diplomacy throughout his vast empire. While Sumerian continued to be revered as the language of profound literature, sacred religion, and scholarly pursuits, Akkadian, clear, practical, and widely accessible, spread with remarkable swiftness. Scribes across the burgeoning empire diligently mastered this language, meticulously recording royal decrees, codified laws, and diplomatic correspondence on clay tablets that would preserve Akkadian thought and culture for millennia to come. Under Sargon's wise and far-sighted rule, trade flourished as never before. His empire, sprawling impressively from the warm shores of the Persian Gulf to the distant Mediterranean Sea, effectively opened lucrative trade routes far beyond the traditional boundaries of Mesopotamia. Ships traversed seas with graceful ease, and caravans moved gently across vast deserts. Laden with precious textiles, valuable metals, abundant grains, aromatic spices, and exquisite precious stones, merchants from distant lands, Egypt, Anatolia, and the enigmatic Indus Valley, journeyed to Akkad and its sister cities, fostering invaluable connections that profoundly enriched the lives of countless citizens across the empire. Sargon possessed a deep understanding of the quiet yet immense power of culture and religion in uniting his vast and diverse empire. He meticulously respected local beliefs and customs, ensuring that existing temples were well maintained, that priests and priestesses were duly honored, and that traditional rituals continued without interruption. This enlightened tolerance fostered profound loyalty among the diverse populations, who saw in Sargon a benevolent protector of their cherished traditions rather than a ruthless conqueror solely bent on domination. Yet, despite his considerable and undeniable achievements, Sargon remained remarkably humble, always keenly aware of life's gentle fragility and its inherent unpredictability. He often wandered quietly through Akkad's bustling streets, observing the daily lives of his citizens, and listening carefully and attentively to their concerns and grievances. His rule was not distant or cold, but imbued with a warmth and humanity, marked by genuine compassion and profound understanding for his people. At his court, talented poets and musicians celebrated his achievements, meticulously crafting evocative stories and moving hymns that softly praised his wisdom and his strength. These captivating tales of Sargon spread throughout the empire, carried gently from remote village to bustling city, constantly reminding citizens of the unprecedented unity and prosperity their remarkable ruler had brought to their lives. As evening gently descended across the empire, people returned to the comfort and security of their homes, finding peace in the stability Sargon had so meticulously established within Akkad. Beneath the twinkling, starry skies, reflected softly in the quiet, reflective waters, citizens gathered in vibrant markets and lively squares, sharing stories and laughter, their myriad voices blending into a harmonious hum of community and collective well-being. Under Sargon's gentle guidance, Mesopotamia had entered a profound new era, an era of unprecedented unity, flourishing prosperity, and enduring peace. Yet, no one could truly know how long this fragile harmony would endure, or how history might ultimately remember this quietly remarkable man who had begun life floating gently down a river, yet whose ambitions had, against all odds, carried an entire civilization toward unparalleled greatness. As darkness softly embraced Akkad and the numerous cities throughout the empire, dreams of peace and unity settled profoundly upon the land, guided by the reassuring presence of a leader whose gentle strength had forever changed the course of history. Part 6. The Golden Age of Babylon and Hammurabi's Enduring Justice. In the quiet, unfolding years that gracefully followed Sargon's monumental rise to power, Mesopotamia flourished beneath the calm, expansive skies of Akkad, a land gently bound together by the visionary leadership of a man whose dreams had been remarkably transformed into tangible reality. Under Sargon's wise and far-sighted rule, the Akkadian Empire blossomed, becoming a rich, vibrant tapestry of diverse peoples, intricately woven together in harmonious coexistence within a single, unified civilization. Sargon's empire, vast in its scope and profoundly peaceful in its nature, stretched impressively from the warm, inviting shores of the Persian Gulf to the distant, sun-drenched Mediterranean coast. Within this expansive and meticulously governed territory, numerous cultures coexisted, seamlessly exchanging ideas, intricate crafts, diverse languages, and groundbreaking innovations, gently yet profoundly enriching each other's lives. The empire was far more than a mere collection of conquered territories. It was a vibrant, cultural melting pot where cherished traditions blended softly and organically, creating something entirely new yet comfortingly familiar to all who resided within its extensive borders. At the very heart of this flourishing empire stood Akkad, its bustling streets softly echoing with the myriad voices of people from every conceivable corner of Mesopotamia and far beyond. Merchants proudly displayed vibrant, exquisitely woven fabrics, rare, glittering gems, fragrant spices, and finely crafted pottery. Traders arriving from distant Egypt and the far-off Indus Valley brought with them exotic goods, their captivating tales of faraway lands igniting the imaginations of listeners as the evening shadows lengthened across the city's lively marketplace. Inside Akkad's majestic palaces and sacred temples, scribes continued their meticulous and essential work, carefully pressing reeds into pliable clay tablets, diligently recording the empire's unfolding history with gentle dedication. Their inscribed tablets captured not only royal decrees and legal statutes but also moving poems, sacred hymns, and intimate tales of daily life, thereby preserving a rich and detailed mosaic of culture for future generations to cherish and learn from. Sargon himself oversaw this thriving civilization with a quiet, unwavering confidence, diligently ensuring that justice and prosperity reached even the smallest, most remote village within his realm. He established a highly efficient bureaucracy, carefully choosing wise and capable officials based on merit and demonstrable ability rather than on birthright or social status, thereby fostering a fair and equitable society where talent and integrity could truly flourish. His governors, meticulously selected and implicitly trusted, maintained peace and stability, gently extending the empire's influence without resorting to oppression or harsh rule. Under Sargon's astute administration, roads were meticulously built and significantly improved, linking cities and villages more closely and efficiently than ever before. These roads, humble yet absolutely vital, facilitated seamless trade, swift communication, and easy travel, allowing ideas and innovations to spread quietly yet rapidly across vast distances, profoundly connecting the disparate parts of his dominion. For the very first time, Mesopotamia truly felt unified, connected by well-intentioned pathways that gently guided travelers from one thriving city to another. Yet, despite the impressive stability and grandeur of his empire, Sargon never rested comfortably on his laurels. He understood profoundly the gentle yet persistent pressures inherent in leadership and the constant vigilance required. His rule demanded constant care and quiet watchfulness, as ambitious rivals occasionally tested the strength and unity of Akkad's vast domain. But Sargon, consistently guided by profound wisdom rather than brute harshness, navigated these challenges with remarkable deftness, often preferring the nuanced art of diplomacy to the destructive force of war, and preferring calm negotiation to widespread violence. Through peaceful resolutions and judicious agreements, he secured lasting alliances and fostered mutual respect, thereby ensuring the empire's tranquility and enduring stability. As the empire grew and matured, Akkadian culture gently yet pervasively permeated every corner of Mesopotamia. Akkadian literature, deeply influenced by earlier Sumerian works, flourished with vibrant energy. Tales of Sargon's own extraordinary life, blending elements of profound myth and verifiable history, spread widely across his empire, inspiring both awe and deep respect among his subjects. Poets softly celebrated his humble origins and his remarkable rise to power, reinforcing his legacy as a compassionate and divinely chosen ruler. Art and architecture also thrived, powerfully reflecting Akkad's peaceful prosperity and cultural dynamism. Palaces became gracefully elaborate, adorned with exquisite frescoes and intricate reliefs depicting scenes from daily life and sacred rituals. Temples dedicated to both Akkadian and Sumerian gods rose majestically, their architecture seamlessly blending ancient traditions with subtle innovations. symbolizing the empire's unity and its deep reverence for diverse heritages. Sargon's personal life remained relatively quiet, shrouded gently in respectful privacy. However, it is known that he raised a daughter named Enheduanna, whose remarkable legacy would, in its own right, rival even her illustrious father's greatness. Enheduanna, blessed with a profound poetic spirit and exceptional intellect, served as a high priestess of the moon god Nana in the sacred city of Uar. She authored exquisite hymns and profound poems, softly capturing the very essence of human devotion to the divine. Enheduanna's words, meticulously etched onto enduring clay tablets, remain the earliest known writings attributed definitively to a named author, a quiet yet extraordinary accomplishment that echoes softly across millennia, a testament to her enduring genius. As Sargon aged, he contemplated deeply the future of his vast empire, carefully and thoughtfully preparing for the inevitable transition of power. He guided his sons and successors gently, emphasizing the crucial importance of wisdom, fairness, and humility, qualities he had quietly embodied throughout his extraordinary life. Sargon possessed a keen understanding of the delicate nature of empires, recognizing that they were built not solely through force and coercion, but by the strong bonds of trust, profound respect, and mutual care that he had patiently fostered among his people. After ruling for over half a century, Sargon quietly passed into history, leaving behind an empire that was stronger yet gently humbled by the enduring legacy of his humanity. His successors, inspired by his profound example, would valiantly carry forward his vision, guiding Mesopotamia through further generations of prosperity and stability. Yet none would surpass the gentle strength, the profound compassion, and the quiet brilliance that so uniquely defined his reign. In the years following his passing, the Akkadian Empire continued to thrive, a powerful testament to Sargon's careful planning and his enduring wisdom. But empires, much like rivers, flow gently onward, continually changing shape and adapting over time. Future generations would witness Akkad facing new and unforeseen challenges, devastating natural disasters, internal tensions, and persistent external pressures. Yet, even as the Akkadian Empire gradually faded into history, Sargon's profound legacy lived on, remembered with quiet reverence in countless stories, on countless tablets, and in the precious memories gently passed down through the generations. Under softly glowing starlight, the empire he so carefully built rested peacefully, secure in the unity and stability he had created. The gentle currents of the Tigris and Euphrates flowed quietly beneath moonlit skies, much as they had during Sargon's humble beginnings. Families gathered around evening fires, recounting the extraordinary life of their beloved king, whose humble origins and gentle spirit had inspired and shaped an entire civilization. As night tenderly embraced the land, the people of Mesopotamia dreamed softly, knowing their empire had been shaped not through force alone, but through profound compassion, unwavering wisdom, and gentle strength. The memory of Sargon, king of Akkad, softly lingered, an enduring testament to the quiet power of dreams, unwavering determination, and profound human kindness. And so, under the watchful gaze of stars that had guided humanity from its very inception, the land of Mesopotamia rested peacefully, gently aware of its rich heritage, quietly awaiting the next extraordinary chapter of its unfolding story. Part 7. The Resurgence of Babylon and Hammurabi's Reign of Law. Time, much like the gentle, unhurried current of the Euphrates, steadily carried Mesopotamia forward, shaping its destiny with each passing moment. Long after Sargon's once great empire had softened into mere memories and quiet echoes of a bygone era, a new city began its gentle yet steady ascent, destined to illuminate the ancient landscape once again. This nascent city was Babylon, and its fabled golden age was ushered in by the remarkable leadership of a man whose profound wisdom and unwavering commitment to justice would resonate softly yet powerfully through the annals of history. Hammurabi. Babylon, in its initial incarnation, was a modest settlement, nestled comfortably along the banks of the gently flowing Euphrates. In its early days, It amounted to little more than a humble city-state, quietly observing the rise and fall of its more powerful neighbors and formidable rivals. But from these quiet, unassuming beginnings, Babylon steadily grew in significance, gradually emerging as a preeminent center of culture, commerce, and political power. Born around 1810 BC, Hammurabi ascended to Babylon's throne in approximately 1792 BC, inheriting a relatively modest realm. His city-state was surrounded by a constellation of powerful neighbors, Assyria to the north, Elam to the east, and numerous other ambitious city-states scattered throughout Mesopotamia. Yet, despite these daunting geopolitical challenges, Hammurabi remained undeterred. He was a man of quiet confidence, possessing a clear vision and a profound sense of compassion, qualities that would soon transform Babylon into one of history's most enduring and iconic symbols of civilization. At first, Hammurabi acted with prudent caution, focusing on strengthening his city from within. He meticulously rebuilt Babylon's defensive walls, strategically expanded its intricate network of irrigation canals, and wisely invested in vast granaries to ensure ample harvests and food security for his people. His primary focus was on fostering stability, ensuring peace, and cultivating gentle, organic growth. Hammurabi understood that true prosperity required firm foundations, meticulously constructed from threads of trust, order, and unwavering fairness. He approached diplomacy with thoughtful deliberation, patiently nurturing alliances with neighboring powers and quietly resolving disputes with a preference for negotiation over conflict. When diplomacy occasionally faltered, he responded decisively yet gently, ensuring that conflicts ended swiftly, thereby restoring peace rather than prolonging destructive violence. His profound wisdom soon earned him widespread respect, establishing Babylon as a city whose word could be trusted and whose agreements were consistently honored. Slowly, through careful, strategic planning and a measured, controlled ambition, Hammurabi began to expand his influence. Neighboring cities, recognizing the inherent advantages of his governance, willingly submitted to Babylon's gentle yet firm rule. With each new territory peacefully incorporated into his growing dominion, Babylon's resources multiplied, profoundly enriching the lives of its citizens and creating an expansive network of cities bound together by shared loyalty and mutual benefit. Yet, Hammurabi's true genius lay not merely in his political acumen or military ambition, but in his profound and unwavering dedication to justice. He understood deeply that lasting empires required more than just military strength or accumulated wealth. They demanded fairness, crystal-clear legal clarity, and profound compassion for all citizens. With this foundational philosophy firmly in mind, Hammurabi embarked upon his most enduring legacy, the creation of one of history's earliest and most profoundly influential legal codes, known today simply as the Code of Hammurabi. This groundbreaking set of laws gently yet firmly outlined a comprehensive framework for justice for Babylon's diverse populace. Meticulously carved onto a towering basalt stele, the code comprised over 200 precise laws, addressing a vast array of issues ranging from intricate trade regulations and property rights to marriage customs, inheritance laws, and even parameters for medical malpractice. This monumental stone, its surface painstakingly etched with cuneiform script, stood prominently in Babylon's central square, readily accessible for all to read and comprehend. Hammurabi's laws were meticulously designed to maintain harmony and ensure fairness within society. He clearly defined the rights and responsibilities of every citizen, from esteemed nobles to diligent laborers, from skilled artisans to hardworking farmers. Each law carefully balanced the imperatives of justice with the considerations of compassion, and the principles of punishment with the possibility of mercy. Hammurabi himself eloquently described his overarching purpose: to bring about the rule of righteousness, so that the strong should not harm the weak. This gentle yet unwavering commitment to fairness ensured that Babylonian society flourished peacefully. Citizens were fully aware of their rights, placed their trust in the legal system, and profoundly respected the authority that upheld it. Laws were applied consistently and impartially, fostering a profound sense of security and mutual trust among people of every social status and occupation. Under Hammurabi's thoughtful and enlightened leadership, Babylon experienced a remarkable cultural flourishing. The city itself blossomed gracefully, its architecture rising with unparalleled elegance and dignity. Temples dedicated to revered gods like Marduk, Babylon's patron deity, were meticulously rebuilt and significantly expanded. Their facades were adorned with vibrant, glazed bricks that shimmered softly and invitingly beneath the warm Mesopotamian sun, creating a dazzling spectacle. Palaces and public buildings featured intricate murals and detailed carvings depicting scenes from daily life, the natural world, and sacred rituals, their inherent beauty powerfully reflecting the city's refined cultural spirit. Hammurabi also diligently promoted education, ensuring that Babylon's youth, both male and female, had comprehensive access to knowledge and learning. Schools emerged near temples, offering rigorous lessons in mathematics, writing, astronomy, and law. Young scribes meticulously copied texts onto clay tablets, thereby preserving Babylon's rich cultural heritage and expanding intellectual horizons for future generations. Poetry and literature thrived, reflecting the city's vibrant creative spirit. Hammurabi himself actively fostered this cultural vitality, generously supporting artists, poets, musicians, and astronomers who gently illuminated Babylon's golden age with their profound contributions. Commerce, too, thrived under Hammurabi's astute guidance. Babylon evolved into a major trading hub, with merchants from across Mesopotamia and distant lands converging in its vibrant marketplaces. Goods from Egypt, Anatolia, Persia, and the Indus Valley filled the city's stalls, exotic spices, fine textiles, exquisite pottery, precious metals, and delicate jewelry. Trade was regulated thoughtfully and meticulously guided by Hammurabi's comprehensive laws, ensuring fair prices, standardized weights and measures, and secure, trustworthy transactions. Prosperity grew quietly and steadily, enriching lives across the entire empire. Life in Hammurabi's Babylon was profoundly defined by tranquility and quiet prosperity. Families gathered in comfortable homes, meticulously constructed from mud bricks and timber, surrounding peaceful inner courtyards. Meals of bread, dates, vegetables, and occasional meat were shared warmly around flickering hearth fires, fostering a sense of togetherness and comfort. Stories were passed down from wise elders to eager children beneath softly flickering oil lamps, imparting gentle lessons of virtue, courage, and profound compassion, shaping the moral fabric of society. Even in this age of gentle prosperity, Hammurabi remained remarkably modest, deeply committed to the well-being of his people. He frequently walked among his citizens, listening carefully and attentively to their concerns, quietly ensuring that justice reached even the poorest households. His reassuring presence deeply comforted citizens, reminding them that their ruler cared deeply and genuinely for their welfare and prosperity. As Babylon quietly flourished beneath Hammurabi's careful and judicious rule, its sterling reputation spread gently across all of Mesopotamia. Neighboring kingdoms admired its unparalleled stability, its unwavering commitment to justice, and its flourishing prosperity, eagerly seeking friendship and alliance with this beacon of civilization. Yet, Hammurabi remained humble, acutely aware of his immense responsibilities and inherent limitations, always guided by the principles of fairness and compassion rather than by pride or arrogance. Each evening, as gentle twilight bathed Babylon's golden buildings in soft, ethereal hues, families gathered safely behind the formidable walls constructed by Hammurabi's careful hands. Stars began to twinkle quietly above, serving as symbols of a city whose brightness now rivaled the heavens themselves. Babylon, under Hammurabi's gentle guidance, stood quietly at the absolute zenith of its glory, a city of profound justice, unwavering compassion, and vibrant culture. It was a place where dreams were realized gently, and civilization shone softly yet brilliantly beneath the eternal Mesopotamian sky, a testament to human potential. Part 8. The enduring legacy of Hammurabi's Babylon. As the days passed gently over Babylon, the city blossomed into a shining jewel upon the Mesopotamian plain, a place where profound dreams, enlightened learning, and unwavering justice lived harmoniously side by side. Hammurabi, the steady, guiding heart of this remarkable golden era, continued to lead his people with a depth of wisdom that few rulers, either before or after him, would ever truly match. His legal code had not only meticulously ordered the lives of Babylon's diverse citizens but had also quietly transformed the very concept of leadership itself. To Hammurabi, kingship was not merely a divine right, it was a sacred, profound duty, a foundational bond between ruler and ruled, meticulously woven with delicate yet resilient threads of trust, unwavering fairness, and dedicated service. In the intricacies of daily life, the profound echoes of Hammurabi's code could be distinctly felt everywhere. In the bustling marketplaces, discerning merchants exchanged goods with a newfound confidence, their transactions protected by clear, equitable regulations. In the verdant fields stretching beyond the city walls, diligent farmers tended their crops, secure in the knowledge that their land rights and access to vital water were meticulously safeguarded by law. Even in disputes over debts, marriage contracts, or inheritance, citizens could confidently appeal to the written word, secure in the knowledge that justice was not arbitrary or capricious, but rather firmly grounded in shared values and established legal precedent. Education, too, continued its remarkable flourishing under Hammurabi's nurturing hand. Schools expanded significantly, and libraries grew exponentially as scribes meticulously recorded not just commercial transactions and royal decrees but also profound poetry, ancient myths, intricate astronomical observations, and detailed medical knowledge. Literacy became a deeply treasured skill, and knowledge was gently passed from one generation to the next, carried like a sacred, flickering flame through the grand corridors of time, ensuring its preservation. Babylonian scholars gazed intently at the stars, recording the intricate dance of celestial bodies with astonishing accuracy and precision. They meticulously mapped constellations, predicted elusive eclipses, and created early calendars based on the predictable lunar cycle. These profound observations were not merely scientific in their pursuit but also deeply spiritual, serving as a profound way of interpreting the messages of the gods, intricately woven into the vast, luminous tapestry of the night sky. In the realm of medicine, skilled healers and doctors worked diligently with herbal remedies, refined surgical techniques, and precise, careful observation. Their treatments were meticulously recorded, seamlessly blending practical, empirical experience with earnest divine supplication. Illness in Babylon was often viewed as both a physical and a spiritual affliction, necessitating holistic care for the body and fervent prayers for the soul. Art and architecture reached new, unparalleled heights of beauty and sophisticated refinement. Temples rose even higher, majestically adorned with vibrant, glazed tiles that caught the sunlight and shimmered like precious jewels, creating dazzling spectacles. Relief carvings eloquently told captivating stories of gods, powerful kings, and everyday people, their faces rendered with a profound tenderness and remarkable realism. Music filled the very air, the melodious strains of harps, the clear notes of flutes, and the rhythmic beats of drums, bringing rhythm and profound joy to the bustling streets and tranquil, verdant gardens. Throughout it all, Hammurabi remained a steadfast figure of unwavering stability and profound compassion. He traveled frequently throughout his vast empire, visiting distant cities and remote villages, listening patiently and attentively to grievances, resolving intricate disputes, and constantly reaffirming the vital connection between the king and his beloved people. His journeys were not grand, triumphant processions of conquest, but rather quiet, purposeful pilgrimages of governance, meticulously strengthening the bonds of loyalty and deep trust that held his empire together. As Hammurabi aged, he began to contemplate deeply the enduring legacy he would leave behind for future generations. He understood implicitly that the true strength of Babylon lay not only in its formidable walls or its immense wealth, but fundamentally in its profound ideas, in the deep-seated belief that justice and compassion were the true, unshakable foundations of any lasting civilization. He carefully prepared his successors, diligently ensuring that the fundamental principles he had so meticulously established would endure far beyond his own lifetime. His sons were educated not only in the essential arts of warfare and governance, but also in the crucial tenets of ethics, law, and diplomacy, shaping them into well-rounded leaders. Hammurabi's vision was not for fleeting, ephemeral glory, but for a lasting, enduring peace meticulously built upon the bedrock of fairness and profound wisdom. In his final, twilight years, Hammurabi bore witness to the full, magnificent flowering of Babylon's golden age. Trade routes stretched dynamically across all of Mesopotamia and extended far beyond, seamlessly bringing diverse goods, innovative ideas, and rich cultures together in a vibrant, interconnected tapestry. Babylon had truly become a preeminent center of learning, of profound faith, and of flourishing prosperity, its reputation shining brightly like a radiant beacon across the ancient world, drawing admiration from all corners. When Hammurabi finally passed from this world, he did so quietly and peacefully, surrounded by the civilization he had so carefully nurtured and profoundly shaped. His death marked the conclusion of an extraordinary era, but his spirit lived on, indelibly etched in the laws he had meticulously crafted, the vibrant culture he had so assiduously fostered, and the audacious dreams he had dared to transform into reality. The empire he built would inevitably face challenges in the years to come, new rulers, external threats, and internal divisions. Yet, for a significant period, Babylon stood serene and proud, a powerful testament to what humanity could achieve when guided by profound wisdom, unwavering compassion, and an unshakable commitment to justice. And as the stars wheeled silently above the great city, their cold, brilliant light falling upon towering temple spires and majestic palace rooftops, the people of Babylon continued to live, to work, to dream, and to hope, sheltered by the enduring memory of a king who had loved them as a father loves his cherished children. Thus, Hammurabi's Babylon became more than a mere city. It became a potent symbol, a quiet promise softly whispered across the gentle winds of history. It stood as a testament that civilization, at its absolute best, could be a powerful force for good, for unwavering fairness, and for enduring peace. And though the relentless rivers of time would one day carry Babylon into the realm of legend, the gentle, profound echoes of Hammurabi's reign would ripple forever onward, subtly yet powerfully shaping the destiny of peoples and nations for countless generations to come. Part 9. The Ascendance of Assyria, a force forged in resilience. As the quiet centuries gracefully drifted onward, the once glorious cities of Sumer and Akkad began their slow, soft fade into the distant realm of memory. Yet Mesopotamia, with its endlessly fertile rivers and boundless, azure skies, steadfastly remained a verdant cradle for new powers destined to rise and assert their dominance. Among the scattered city-states and the evocative, forgotten ruins of past glories, a fierce and intensely determined people slowly, methodically gathered their burgeoning strength in the rugged, unforgiving northern lands. They would come to be known, and often feared, as the Assyrians. The early Assyrians resided in the city of Ashur, a strategic settlement perched on the western banks of the mighty Tigris River. Compared to the wealthier, more opulent cities of the south, Ashur began humbly. Its people were primarily traders, skilled craftsmen, diligent farmers, and resourceful hunters, living simple, demanding lives profoundly shaped by the relentless rhythms of nature and the steady, guiding pull of the seasons. Their gods were characterized by strength yet also a stern, unyielding disposition. Chief among them was Ashur, the city's revered patron deity, who embodied the formidable attributes of war, unwavering protection, and predetermined destiny. In the quiet, contemplative hours of evening, beneath stars so extraordinarily bright they seemed to pulse with an almost palpable life, the people fervently offered prayers for safety, for bountiful harvests, and for the inner strength to endure whatever hardships life might inevitably bring. Endurance, indeed, became the defining characteristic of the Assyrian way of life. Life in northern Mesopotamia demanded an unwavering resilience. The land itself was more rugged, the climate notably harsher and more unpredictable. Raids from aggressive nomadic tribes were a common, ever-present threat, and sheer survival required constant vigilance, strong communal cooperation, and formidable strength. Over time, these harsh necessities profoundly shaped the very essence of the Assyrian spirit, forging a people who were unyielding, disciplined, and remarkably patient. While the early centuries of Assyrian existence passed quietly, change arrived gradually, like a persistent river carving deep, intricate channels through solid stone. Trade routes that seamlessly connected the distant lands of Anatolia, Persia, and Egypt flowed directly through Ashur, and with these connections came new wealth, new innovative ideas, and burgeoning ambitions. Assyrian merchants traveled far and wide, exchanging tin, textiles, and precious lapis lazuli for gold, shimmering silver, and highly prized cedarwood from distant, exotic lands. As their prosperity steadily grew, so too did their aspirations. No longer content to merely survive, the Assyrians began to organize themselves more formally, developing sophisticated systems of governance, taxation, and codified law that powerfully reflected their increasingly complex and stratified society. Kings emerged, chosen not merely by divine right, but by their proven ability to lead formidable armies, to diligently protect their people, and to strategically expand their territorial reach. It was during these formative centuries that the Assyrians began to develop their most distinctive and ultimately defining characteristic, their unparalleled military excellence. Unlike the often loosely organized militias of earlier Mesopotamian cities, the Assyrians meticulously built a standing army, a professional, highly disciplined, and relentlessly effective fighting force. Soldiers trained rigorously year-round, mastering the precision of the bow, the thrust of the spear, the decisive swing of the sword, and the swift maneuverability of the chariot. Engineers, with remarkable ingenuity, developed groundbreaking siege technologies, including formidable battering rams, skilled sappers who meticulously dug tunnels beneath enemy walls, and mobile towers that allowed archers to fire effectively over city defenses. The Assyrian army moved with the precision of a living machine, swift, highly adaptable, and devastatingly effective. Yet, it was not merely cruelty that made them so formidable. It was their meticulous organization, their masterful grasp of logistics, and their unwavering discipline that truly made the Assyrians a force unlike any the world had ever witnessed before. Their expansion, however, was slow at first, marked by a deliberate, methodical approach. Neighboring city-states were incorporated peacefully when possible, through meticulously crafted treaties and astute diplomacy. Only when resistance proved stubborn and unwavering did the full might of the Assyrian army reveal itself, swift and overwhelmingly powerful, like a sudden, unexpected storm. Throughout these early conquests, the Assyrians maintained a deep respect for the traditions and the gods of the lands they absorbed into their growing dominion. Temples were carefully preserved, and local rulers, provided they demonstrated unwavering loyalty, were often permitted to remain in power as vassals. The Assyrians inherently understood that ruling extended beyond mere conquest. It was fundamentally about effective governance, about meticulously weaving together the diverse peoples of their expanding domain into a single, cohesive, and stable tapestry. Among the kings who initiated this slow, steady ascent, names like Shamshi-Adad would one day be etched into historical memory. Shamshi-Adad, reigning in the 18th century BC, significantly extended Assyrian influence over much of northern Mesopotamia. His reign was characterized by meticulous administration, formidable military prowess, and the strategic creation of a robust network of fortified cities, seamlessly linked by roads that enabled rapid communication and the swift movement of troops across his territories. Shamshi-Adad also profoundly understood the power of narrative and propaganda. He commissioned grand inscriptions proudly boasting of his numerous victories, his ambitious building projects, and his unwavering devotion to the gods. In doing so, he laid the crucial foundation for a tradition that future Assyrian kings would meticulously perfect: the sophisticated art of imperial propaganda. Using both words and powerful images to project their immense power and the perceived divine favor across the lands they controlled. Yet, for all their growing strength, the Assyrians remained vulnerable to the relentless tides of history. After Shamshi-Adad's death, Assyria entered a period of relative decline. New, powerful entities, most notably Babylon under the esteemed Hammurabi, rose to prominence in the south. Assyria, for a time, was overshadowed, its cities quiet once more beneath the vast, indifferent stars. But the inherent spirit of Ashur, both the god and the people, was far from extinguished. It merely waited patiently, gathering its strength, biding its time for the opportune moment to reassert itself. The Assyrians, much like the mighty rivers that profoundly shaped their land, were inherently patient. They deeply understood that true power was not seized in a fleeting moment, but painstakingly built slowly, layer by layer, stone upon enduring stone. And when the time finally came again for Assyria to rise, it would do so not with the quietness of a ripple, but with the unstoppable force of a cataclysmic flood. As the twilight deepened over Mesopotamia, casting long, dramatic shadows across ancient temples, fertile fields, and winding rivers, the Assyrians sharpened their formidable weapons, strengthened their resilient cities, and quietly, meticulously prepared for the day when their banners would once again rise high against the vast, encompassing sky. The world had not yet witnessed the full measure of Assyria's might, but soon it undeniably would. Part 10. The Assyrian Empire at its apex. As the soft river mist gracefully curled once more around the low, undulating hills and the ancient cities of northern Mesopotamia, Assyria slowly yet powerfully awakened from its long, strategic slumber. The accumulated patience of generations was finally drawing to a close, and the quiet, formidable strength that had been meticulously forged in hardship and unwavering perseverance was now poised to rise like an unstoppable storm across the vast lands, sweeping all before it. This resurgence began with a series of new, ambitious kings, rulers whose visions and aspirations reached far beyond the familiar, protective walls of Ashur, extending past the accustomed plains and rivers of their homeland. These were men who possessed a keen understanding of both the delicate, nuanced art of governance and the brutal, undeniable necessities of conquest. They expanded Assyria's influence steadily, cautiously at first, and then with an increasing, resolute confidence that would leave an indelible, lasting mark upon the very fabric of history. One of the first true architects of this new, formidable Assyrian Empire was Ashurnasirpal II, who reigned in the 9th century BC. Ashurnasirpal was a man of immense energy and a formidable, unyielding will, his ambitions as vast and encompassing as the sky above the mighty Tigris River itself. Under his resolute rule, Assyria underwent a profound transformation, evolving from a modest kingdom into an undeniable military powerhouse, a force to be reckoned with. He meticulously reorganized the army, introducing innovative new strategies that seamlessly blended swift, devastating cavalry charges, heavily armored infantry formations, and utterly devastating siege tactics that broke the will of their enemies. No longer did the Assyrians rely solely on the stubborn, unyielding determination of their individual warriors. Now, they wielded the keen, precise edge of superior strategy, expertly outflanking enemies, ruthlessly cutting off vital supply lines, and striking when least expected, maximizing their impact. Ashurnasirpal II personally led numerous campaigns that forcefully pushed the boundaries of Assyrian power deep into lands that had long resisted domination. City after city succumbed, either through carefully negotiated surrender or, when necessary, through swift and overwhelmingly powerful assault. Yet, Ashurnasirpal also possessed a nuanced understanding of the delicate balance required for effective rule. He respectfully preserved local customs when feasible, installed loyal governors in conquered territories, and demanded tribute rather than outright destruction from those willing to submit peacefully to his authority. To proudly commemorate his numerous victories, he moved the capital to a newly constructed city, Kalhu, or Nimrud, where magnificent palaces majestically rose from the earth. Their walls were exquisitely adorned with vibrant, detailed reliefs depicting scenes of brutal conquest, thrilling hunts, and clear signs of divine favor. These artistic works were far more than mere decoration. They served as a silent yet potent language, a constant reminder to all who entered that the king was divinely chosen by the gods. A living symbol of cosmic order and predetermined destiny. The images powerfully portrayed Ashurnasirpal as a larger-than-life figure, standing calmly amidst chaos, seemingly protected by winged genies and benevolent divine spirits. In elaborate banquet scenes meticulously carved in stone, he was depicted dining under the stars with honored guests, feasting not out of arrogance, but in profound celebration of unity and collective strength. Kalhu itself became an undeniable marvel of the ancient world. Its streets bustled with the lively activity of merchants and skilled artisans, its temples majestically reached toward the heavens, and its meticulously curated gardens bloomed with exotic plants painstakingly brought from every corner of the vast empire. It was a city born of ambitious vision and boundless imagination. A powerful testament to what the Assyrian people could achieve when guided by a vision grand enough to match their indomitable spirit. Ashurnasirpal's successors, including his son Shalmaneser III, relentlessly continued this impressive expansion. The empire grew like a great, sprawling tree, its roots deeply embedded in Ashur and its formidable branches stretching far beyond, into Syria, across the rugged Zagros Mountains, and toward the distant, shimmering Mediterranean Sea. New roads were meticulously constructed, linking distant provinces directly to the heartland of the empire. Messages and urgent orders traveled swiftly, carried by relay riders who galloped tirelessly from one military outpost to another, ensuring that the king's will was known and enforced across vast distances with remarkable efficiency. Fortresses and crucial administrative centers sprang up along the newly expanded borders, bringing not only disciplined soldiers but also diligent scribes, astute merchants, and devout priests, thereby intricately weaving conquered lands into the empire's ever-growing and complex tapestry. The Assyrians did not merely conquer, they governed with meticulous detail. They standardized weights and measures, issued decrees in the precise cuneiform script, and assiduously collected tribute that significantly enriched the capital cities. Skilled artisans crafted exquisite ivory carvings, intricate jewelry, and richly decorated weapons that seamlessly blended profound beauty with deadly, practical purpose. Yet, for all their immense power and military might, the Assyrians remained a deeply spiritual people, never forgetting their powerful gods. Temples dedicated to Ashur, Ishtar, Nabu, and other revered deities stood proudly at the very heart of every major city. Priests and priestesses diligently tended sacred fires, offered earnest prayers, and meticulously interpreted omens derived from the movements of the stars, the intricate patterns of sacrificed animal livers, and the flight of birds. To the Assyrians, success in warfare and effective governance was not merely the result of human effort alone. It was perceived as a divine mandate, a direct reflection of cosmic order and divine will. Every victory powerfully confirmed that Ashur and the other gods walked with them, guiding their hands and shaping their destinies. As the Assyrian Empire expanded ever outward, it transformed into a dominant force that profoundly shaped not just Mesopotamia, but the wider ancient world itself. Neighboring kingdoms and distant peoples spoke of the Assyrians with a complex mixture of awe, grudging admiration, and profound fear. Their very name carried immense weight. Whispered across bustling marketplaces, sung in distant taverns, and fervently prayed over by rulers desperately hoping to avoid their notice or wrath. Yet, even amidst all this grandeur and imperial might, life for the ordinary Assyrian citizen remained deeply rooted in familiar, comforting rhythms. Farmers diligently planted and harvested their crops along the fertile riverbanks. Artisans toiled in workshops filled with the aromatic scent of cedarwood and the metallic tang of bronze. Families gathered intimately in homes meticulously built of mud brick, telling captivating stories of gods, legendary heroes, and faraway battles under the vast, starlit skies. Children played with carefree abandon along the courtyards of Kalhu and Ashur, chasing one another past towering statues of fearsome lions and majestic winged bulls, their laughter rising into the warm evening air. They knew little of the complex politics that guided their lives, but they inherited a world meticulously built upon strength, unwavering discipline, and a deep, abiding sense of a predetermined destiny. And so, as the stars turned slowly above the lands of Mesopotamia, the Assyrian Empire stood firm, unyielding as solid stone. Swift as the desert wind, and patient as the timeless rivers that had cradled civilization since the world's earliest dawn. Its time of true, undisputed greatness was only just beginning. Part 11. The Inevitable Decline and Fall of Assyria. Time, even for the most formidable of empires, moves with a quiet, relentless certainty, much like the slow, deliberate bending of reeds beneath the river's gentle, persistent pull. So it was with mighty Assyria, a force that had once seemed utterly unbreakable, now beginning to feel the first, almost imperceptible tremors beneath its very foundation. At its zenith in the 7th century BC, Assyria held sway over an immense dominion, stretching from the rugged highlands of Persia to the sun-drenched shores of the Mediterranean. Its powerful kings, Tiglath-Pileser III, Sargon II, Sennacherib Esarhaddon, Ashurbanipal, had carved out a vast empire through an impressive blend of military might and strategic brilliance. Their formidable armies had thundered across continents. Their magnificent palaces gleamed with the opulent splendor of gold and rare ivory, and their vast libraries meticulously collected knowledge from every corner of the known world, a testament to their intellectual pursuits. Yet, within this overwhelming grandeur, unseen cracks had gradually begun to form and expand. The relentless march of conquest had stretched Assyria's resources thin, leaving it vulnerable. Each newly acquired province demanded garrisons of soldiers, appointed governors, and diligent tribute collectors, placing an immense logistical and financial strain on the empire. Furthermore, each subject people needed to be watched carefully, for loyalty bred by fear is inherently a fragile and unreliable bond. Trade routes that had once filled Assyria's coffers with immense wealth now also inadvertently brought new, subversive ideas, burgeoning ambitions, and a pervasive, quiet unrest that simmered beneath the surface. Meanwhile, the proud Assyrian kings often grew increasingly distant from their populace, their courts becoming lavish and insular, inward-looking affairs. Within their opulent palaces, extravagant feasts and elaborate rituals masked the slow, insidious erosion of unity and purpose that began to plague the core of the empire. Rivalries among the royal family and ambitious, often ruthless, generals began to fester like unseen rot beneath a grand, imposing facade. Still, for a time, Assyria endured. It bravely fought rebellion after rebellion, relentlessly crushed enemies both old and new, and maintained an uneasy, tenuous grip on its sprawling, diverse territories. But the cost of this constant struggle was heavy and unsustainable. Cities were utterly razed to the ground, entire peoples were uprooted and forcibly relocated, causing widespread suffering. Fear, while effective in the short term, kept the empire together. But fear, too, can swiftly transform into bitter, seething hatred. Among the many proud peoples who had once been forced to bend the knee to Assyrian rule was Babylon, ancient and steeped in its own glorious history. For a long time, the Babylonians had chafed under the Assyrian yoke, their collective memories still vividly filled with the quiet glory of Hammurabi's golden age. Though the Assyrians had diligently rebuilt Babylon's temples and respectfully honored its gods, the city's inherent spirit remained restless, patiently waiting for the opportune day when it might once more rise to its former prominence. That fated day crept ever closer, carried not by a single hand, but by the slow, inexorable gathering of formidable forces operating far beyond Assyria's direct sight. To the east, in the rugged lands of Media, a new, powerful people, the Medes, had risen in strength and influence. Skilled horsemen and fierce, disciplined warriors, the Medes had watched the Assyrians with cautious, calculating eyes, biding their time. To the south, in Babylon, profound discontent smoldered like hidden embers beneath a thick layer of ash, ready to ignite. And to the west, smaller kingdoms, once thoroughly cowed into submission, began to quietly dream of a newfound freedom from Assyrian dominance. The final, decisive blow would come not from a singular enemy, but from a coordinated assault by many. It began with a series of isolated revolts in distant provinces, small, seemingly insignificant uprisings that were easily crushed by the Assyrian military. Yet each rebellion, no matter how small, incrementally chipped away at Assyria's dwindling resources and its overall will to fight. Meanwhile, Babylon found its ultimate champion in a determined man named Nabopolassar, a shrewd leader of Chaldean descent. Nabopolassar keenly understood that Assyria's strength lay primarily in its carefully cultivated appearance of invincibility, and that this crucial appearance was rapidly fading. Nabopolassar, acting with careful precision and profound patience, first secured Babylon's independence around 626 BC. He then meticulously fortified the city's walls, rallied allies among the southern tribes, and strategically reached out to the Medes, who were more than eager to find partners in their shared resistance against Assyrian hegemony. Together, they meticulously wove a quiet web of intricate alliances, patient and deliberate as master weavers crafting a resilient tapestry meant to endure the test of time. Meanwhile, Assyria's kings desperately struggled to hold together their increasingly fraying empire. Internal dissent, crippling economic strain, and the sheer exhaustion of constant warfare had profoundly hollowed out their once mighty and seemingly invincible armies. When the devastating attacks finally came, first isolated, then gradually growing in intensity, and finally becoming relentlessly coordinated, the Assyrians found themselves fighting not a single, unified enemy, but 1,000 small, uncontrolled fires spreading beyond their ability to contain. In 614 BC, the Medes struck first, launching a devastating assault that resulted in the sacking of the ancient city of Ashur itself. It was a stunning, symbolic blow, the very heart of Assyrian identity profoundly wounded in a way no enemy had managed before. 2 years later, in 612 BC, Nabopolassar and his Median allies laid siege to Nineveh, Assyria's glittering, magnificent capital, a city justly famed for its extensive libraries, its opulent palaces, and its colossal, awe-inspiring statues of winged bulls. The siege endured for many long months. The defenders fought with desperate, unyielding courage, but they were vastly outnumbered, and their remaining allies had, by this point, completely deserted them. Finally, the formidable walls were breached. Nineveh fell in a conflagration of flames and utter ruin, its priceless treasures looted, and its once proud people scattered to the winds. The once proud city, a true marvel of human achievement and engineering, was tragically reduced to nothing but ash and desolate silence. An Assyrian general, Ashur-uballit II, valiantly attempted to rally the last remnants of the empire at Haran, but it was irrevocably too late. The relentless tides of history had decisively turned, swift and merciless. Assyria, for so long an indomitable, towering force, dissolved like morning mist beneath the rising sun. Yet, from its ashes, new life remarkably stirred. In Babylon, Nabopolassar celebrated not merely a military victory, but a profound rebirth of his ancient city. The venerable city, having patiently endured under foreign dominance for so long, now stretched itself awake once more, vibrant and renewed. Its sacred temples were meticulously rebuilt, its astute merchants eagerly opened lucrative new trade routes, and its esteemed scholars and devout priests enthusiastically resumed their sacred duties. A return to their intellectual and spiritual pursuits. Babylon, with its graceful, towering structures and sacred ziggurats, prepared to reclaim its rightful place as the very heart of civilization. And just as Babylon rose from Assyria's cataclysmic fall, so too would a new vision of empire emerge, softer, perhaps, but no less ambitious in its scope and influence. Under the starlit skies of Mesopotamia, as the Euphrates gently whispered its eternal song, the world quietly turned to embrace a new, transformative chapter. The warriors of old had fallen silent. The dreamers of a new era were now waking, ready to shape the future. Babylon would now dream, and history would undoubtedly listen to its unfolding narrative. Part 12. Nebuchadnezzar II and the resplendent new Babylonian Empire. The city of Babylon, now gloriously reborn from the very dust of fallen empires, rose like a magnificent dream from the fertile banks of the Euphrates. Where once there had been desolate ruins and profound regret, now stood shining, imposing walls, soaring, majestic temples, and streets teeming with vibrant color, melodious music, and the effervescent pulse of life itself. It was a city not merely rebuilt, but profoundly reimagined, meticulously shaped into a vision so breathtaking and fantastical that later generations would genuinely wonder if it had ever truly existed, or if it had been conjured directly from the most audacious dreams of the gods themselves. At the very heart of this new, resplendent Babylon stood a king whose name would reverberate through the echoes of time with profound reverence and undeniable awe: Nebuchadnezzar II. Nebuchadnezzar was a monarch born from audacious ambition and tempered by profound wisdom. The son of Nabopolassar, the revered liberator of Babylon, he grew up immersed in poignant stories of Assyrian oppression and Babylon's fervent, enduring yearning for freedom. When his father passed, Nebuchadnezzar inherited not only a throne but a solemn mission: to raise Babylon to unprecedented heights, achieving a grandeur that no other city had ever previously attained. And so, with unwavering determination, he did. Nebuchadnezzar's reign, commencing in 605 BC, was a magnificent symphony of military triumph, creative architectural marvels, and territorial expansion. He was a formidable warrior when the need arose, personally leading his armies across the lands of Syria and Judah, thereby ensuring Babylon's undeniable dominance over the entire ancient Near East. But more than mere conquest, Nebuchadnezzar possessed a deep, inherent love for the act of building, of meticulously leaving a permanent mark upon the world that would indelibly outlive even the fleeting memory of war itself. Under his visionary guidance, Babylon blossomed into a city of unparalleled wonder. Massive walls, so incredibly thick that 2 chariots could race abreast atop them side by side, majestically encircled the city like a protective, embracing arm. Towering gates, exquisitely adorned with dazzling, shimmering blue-glazed bricks and intricately decorated with powerful images of mythical dragons and majestic bulls, grandly welcomed travelers from distant lands, leaving them awestruck. Chief among these architectural masterpieces was the Ishtar Gate, a testament to both sublime art and profound devotion. A monumental portal that seemed to shimmer with an ethereal glow like a precious jewel under the radiant Mesopotamian sun. Beyond the formidable walls, wide, meticulously planned streets led to bustling, vibrant markets filled with exotic spices from distant Arabia, glittering gold from faraway Nubia, fragrant cedarwood from the majestic forests of Lebanon, and precious lapis lazuli from lands nestled far beyond the mountains. Merchants loudly called out their diverse wares, their voices creating a lively hum. Children played with carefree abandon between the crowded stalls, their laughter echoing merrily. Priests and scribes moved with an air of quiet authority and dignified purpose through the throngs of people. At the very center of the city, towering majestically into the sky like a ladder reaching for the heavens, stood the Grand Ziggurat, a structure so immense and awe-inspiring that it is widely believed by some to have inspired later tales of the mythical Tower of Babel. Layer upon layer of meticulously placed mud, brick, and stone rose powerfully upward, each successive level narrower than the last, creating a stair-stepped mountain dedicated to the revered gods. A true architectural marvel. It was a profoundly sacred place, serving as a tangible bridge between the earthly realm and the boundless sky, between humanity and the divine. Yet, even among all these magnificent marvels, one wonder outshone all the rest: the legendary creation of the fabled Hanging Gardens of Babylon. Though history often blurs the lines between verifiable fact and captivating legend, the story frequently told is one deeply rooted in profound love. It is recounted that Nebuchadnezzar constructed the Hanging Gardens for his beloved queen, Amytis of Media, who yearned deeply for the familiar green hills and lush, verdant valleys of her distant homeland. To alleviate her profound heartache and longing, the king commanded the construction of a magnificent terraced garden, rising high into the air, overflowing with graceful trees, vibrant, fragrant flowers, and cascading waterfalls, an unparalleled oasis miraculously suspended above the bustling city. Ingenious engineers, with their remarkable knowledge of intricate irrigation systems and sophisticated design, devised complex systems of pumps and aqueducts to draw vital water from the Euphrates, ensuring that every tree and every delicate blossom thrived, even in the arid climate of the Mesopotamian plain. Travelers who beheld these wondrous gardens marveled at their beauty, speaking in hushed, reverent tones of a true paradise on earth, a place where earth and sky seemed to meet and kiss, where lush vines draped like living curtains, and the air was perpetually perfumed with the intoxicating scent of fragrant blooms. In this extraordinary manner, Babylon transcended being merely a city of stone and commerce. It transformed into a city of dreams, a place where human hands, profoundly inspired by love and unwavering faith, had meticulously crafted beauty on a truly divine scale. But Nebuchadnezzar's profound vision was not solely limited to monumental architecture. He also invested deeply in the very soul of Babylon. Temples were meticulously rebuilt and significantly expanded, especially the magnificent Great Temple of Esagila, which was dedicated to Marduk, the revered chief deity of the Babylonian pantheon. Festivals, such as the Akitu, the Grand New Year's celebration, were revived with unprecedented grandeur, powerfully reaffirming the sacred bond between the king, his people, and the gods. Justice, too, was a fundamental cornerstone of Nebuchadnezzar's benevolent rule. He personally oversaw the careful management of agriculture, meticulously ensured fair taxation practices, and diligently maintained the city's famed canals and intricate irrigation systems. Abundant grain, sweet dates, fine wool, and exquisite pottery flowed steadily through the vibrant markets. And Babylon grew immensely rich, not merely in material wealth, but profoundly in spirit and cultural vibrancy. Scholars and diligent scribes flourished immensely in this golden era. Mathematics, astronomy, and medicine advanced to new heights of sophistication and knowledge. Babylonian astronomers meticulously charted the precise movements of the planets, accurately predicted complex eclipses, and laid invaluable groundwork for the future understanding of the vast, intricate cosmos. Their meticulous records, painstakingly etched into clay tablets with delicate cuneiform script, would serve to inform and guide later civilizations for centuries to come, a testament to their intellectual prowess. As Nebuchadnezzar aged, he could look out from the grand terraces of his palace and behold a world that had been utterly transformed by his singular, visionary ambition. Where once there had been little more than fragmented memory and crumbling ruin, now stood the magnificent heart of the civilized world, a thriving, vibrant city where gods were believed to walk among mortals, where the grand dreams of kings took root in enduring brick and blossoming flora, in flowing water and radiant light. Under the velvet curtain of night, as the Euphrates gently whispered its eternal song and the stars shimmered softly overhead, Babylon seemed to breathe, a living, tangible monument to humanity's innate yearning for profound greatness. And in those quiet, serene hours before the dawn, when the cool breezes stirred gently through the gardens and the ziggurat's imposing shadow stretched gracefully across the sleeping city, one might imagine that even the gods themselves paused to marvel at what had been so magnificently wrought by human hands and spirit. Babylon, under Nebuchadnezzar's guiding hand, had truly become eternal. Part 13. the Persian dawn and Babylon's gentle decline. Even the brightest and most glorious of cities, no matter how magnificent, must eventually yield to the inexorable turning of the world's quiet, relentless wheels. Babylon, in all its resplendent splendor, basked beneath the warm sun of its golden age. But far beyond the reach of its astute merchants and swift messengers, a new and potent force was stirring across the wide, expansive plains and rugged, towering mountains to the east. This formidable force would arrive not with the thunderous roar of anger or the brutal cruelty of naked ambition. Instead, it would come with something far more enduring, a profound vision of unity, unwavering respect, and a predetermined destiny. At its very heart was a man who would be remembered not merely as a conqueror, but as one of history's most gentle and enlightened giants. His name was Cyrus. Cyrus the Great. Cyrus was born around 600 BC among the Persians, a resilient people who inhabited the mountainous lands of modern-day Iran. His ancestors were fierce warriors and hardy herders, toughened by the demanding landscape and guided by ancient traditions of unwavering loyalty and profound honor. Little is known for certain about Cyrus's early years, and much of his story has been embroidered with captivating legend. As though the world itself had sensed he was destined for something truly extraordinary. What is undeniably clear, however, is that when Cyrus ascended to power, he did not immediately seek conquest and domination. He first meticulously unified the fractious Persian tribes, binding them together not through fear or coercion, but through unwavering fairness and a shared sense of profound purpose. He then turned his strategic gaze toward the mighty Median Empire, which had long dominated the lands beyond the formidable Zagros Mountains. In a swift and utterly stunning campaign, Cyrus overthrew the Medes, not with the wholesale destruction that so often characterized the rise of new powers, but with a remarkable approach of respect and seamless integration. The Medes became willing partners, not subjugated slaves. Their ancient traditions were meticulously honored, and their seasoned soldiers proudly joined the ranks of the burgeoning Persian army. With this unique foundation of unity and cooperation, the Achaemenid Empire was gracefully born. Cyrus's vision for empire was unlike anything the ancient world had ever witnessed. Where other rulers commanded through fear, he governed through profound respect. Where others demanded absolute submission, he generously offered protection and active participation in his grand design. He intuitively recognized the immense strength that stemmed from diversity, and skillfully wove the many disparate peoples of his empire together with careful, resilient threads of tolerance, codified law, and shared prosperity for all. As Cyrus's star rose ever higher, the great cities of Mesopotamia began to take notice. Babylon, proud and still resplendent in its beauty, watched cautiously from afar. Its kings, the successors of the great Nebuchadnezzar, struggled to maintain the immense grandeur he had so magnificently created. Internally, Babylon had grown restless, a simmering cauldron of discontent. Tensions silently simmered beneath the surface: political divisions, economic burdens, and the ever-present, overwhelming weight of meticulously maintaining such a vast and storied legacy. Meanwhile, Cyrus moved steadily westward like an unstoppable tide, patient but relentless. He conquered Lydia and Anatolia, seamlessly absorbing its immense wealth and vast knowledge into his growing empire. He brought distant cities and diverse tribes under his banner without resorting to the destruction of their unique cultures, respecting their heritage. He boldly declared that all people were free to worship their own gods, to speak their native languages, and to live according to their own cherished traditions. In doing so, he transformed himself from merely a conqueror into a true liberator. By 539 BC, Cyrus had decisively turned his attention toward the fabled city of Babylon. The approach to Babylon was not marked by the usual devastation or the thunder of war. Cyrus deeply understood that Babylon was no mere city to be summarily razed. It was, in essence, the very heart of the ancient world, the sacred cradle of laws, sciences, and faiths that had profoundly shaped humanity's earliest, faltering steps. To destroy it would be tantamount to destroying a fundamental part of the world itself. Instead, Cyrus planned his campaign with meticulous care and strategic ingenuity. According to the historical accounts left behind, most famously the Cyrus Cylinder, sometimes hailed as the world's first declaration of human rights, he sought not to destroy Babylon, but to meticulously restore it to its former glory. The final campaign was swift and utterly decisive. Cyrus's forces, skillfully led by his general Gobryas, found an ingenious way to enter the city without resorting to a prolonged and destructive siege. They cleverly diverted the waters of the Euphrates, lowering the river's level sufficiently for soldiers to slip beneath the formidable walls under the protective cloak of night. Babylon fell without a single great battle, without the widespread bloodshed that so often accompanied conquest and regime change. When Cyrus finally entered the city, he did so not as a destroyer, but as a revered savior. He devoutly honored Marduk, Babylon's chief god. He magnanimously freed political prisoners and, remarkably, allowed exiled peoples, such as the Jews who had long been captives in Babylon, to return to their homelands and rebuild their sacred temples. He reaffirmed the existing laws, respectfully honored the priests, and painstakingly restored damaged shrines. The people of Babylon, weary of internal strife and heavy-handed, oppressive rulers, welcomed him with open, grateful arms. Under Cyrus's enlightened rule, Babylon continued to shine brightly. The temples remained active centers of worship, the markets thrived with bustling commerce, and the extensive libraries carefully preserved their vast repositories of knowledge. The city, though now an integral part of a greater empire, retained its profound dignity and its central, revered place in the spiritual and intellectual life of the ancient world. But the wheel of history had indeed turned. Babylon was no longer the sole, supreme ruler. It was now a cherished jewel in a magnificent crown that stretched from the mighty Indus River to the distant Mediterranean Sea. It was an integral part of a new, grander dream. One meticulously woven not from conquest alone, but from the harmonious threads of cooperation, profound respect, and shared destiny. Cyrus the Great, by conquering Babylon with an unprecedented kindness instead of the usual cruelty, had revealed to the world a groundbreaking new path, one where immense strength and profound compassion could gracefully walk hand in hand. And as the evening stars rose once more over the golden city, the Euphrates softly whispered a new song, gentle and eternal. Empires may rise and fall, but dreams, resilient and enduring, would forever persevere. The very breath of Babylon slowed. But it did not cease entirely. Under the steady, guiding hand of Cyrus the Great and his immediate successors, the great city continued to pulse gently, like a heart that had discovered a new, quieter rhythm, perhaps, but one still abundantly full of life. Cyrus's reign over Babylon was meticulously marked by a careful balance of old traditions and innovative new approaches. The great temples, Asagila and Etemenanke, still drew throngs of devoted worshippers. The priests still softly whispered their ancient prayers to Marduk and diligently recorded the precise movements of the stars on clay tablets. Merchants continued to sell exotic spices and fine cloth in the city's vibrant, colorful markets, and scribes still meticulously etched intricate contracts, moving poems, and profound prophecies into enduring cuneiform script. But now, Babylon also served as a crucial crossroads, a vital hub seamlessly connecting the vast and diverse Achaemenid Empire. Caravans arrived not only from familiar lands like Sumer and Elam but also from the far reaches of Persia, distant India, ancient Egypt, and lands far beyond, bringing with them a wealth of goods and ideas. Goods, innovative ideas, and diverse peoples mingled freely, like the great rivers themselves, weaving a richer, broader, and more vibrant tapestry of life. Cyrus, ever mindful of the inherent fragility of empire, meticulously enshrined fairness and profound respect at the very core of his rule. His edicts thoughtfully protected the sacred temples of conquered lands. he established sophisticated systems of taxation and governance that allowed local rulers to retain much of their traditional authority, provided they pledged unwavering loyalty to the empire. In this enlightened manner, the empire transformed into a magnificent garden of many diverse flowers, each unique, yet each flourishing under the same expansive, benevolent sun. Upon Cyrus's death in 530 BC, he was succeeded by his son, Cambyses II. Cambyses expanded the empire even further, successfully bringing Egypt under Persian control. The Achaemenid Empire now stretched impressively from the shimmering waters of the Aegean to the vast sands of the Indus. A dominion so immense that it seemed almost to gracefully wrap the known world in its majestic embrace. Yet it was under Darius I, who ascended to power around 522 BC, that the empire truly reached its most refined and meticulously organized form. Darius was a visionary administrator. He systematically divided the empire into distinct provinces called satrapies, each governed by a satrap who owed direct allegiance to the king. To ensure unwavering loyalty and efficient communication, he established extensive networks of spies, famously known as the king's eyes and ears, who reported directly and secretly to the royal court. He meticulously built the royal road, a marvel of ancient infrastructure stretching over 1,500 miles. Couriers could travel swiftly from Sardis to Susa in a mere matter of days, carrying vital messages, valuable goods, and royal decrees with remarkable speed. Trade flourished, and ideas flowed freely like rivers, connecting disparate regions. A traveler could journey from the edges of Greece to the towering mountains of Persia with relative safety. Protected by the Pax Persica, the benevolent Persian peace. Even coinage became standardized, with the gold daric and silver siglos circulating widely across the entire empire, simplifying commerce and subtly binding distant peoples together with invisible threads of trust and economic interdependence. In Babylon, life adapted gracefully to these new changes. Persian governors generally respected Babylonian traditions, and festivals continued with their usual vibrancy. Learning and scholarship thrived under the new regime. Babylon's renowned astronomers, under the patronage of the Persian kings, further refined their meticulous observations of the heavens, laying invaluable foundations for future advancements in mathematics and science. But nothing remains unchanged forever. Over time, subtle, almost imperceptible shifts began to wear on Babylon's resilient spirit. The administrative weight of Persian rule, though undeniably efficient, gradually dimmed the city's inherent independence. Decisions that had once been made in the shadow of Etemenanke were now dispatched eastward to Persepolis and Susa, eroding local autonomy. Taxes, though generally fair, became a consistent burden. Loyalty, once born of genuine gratitude and shared vision, began to fray into a more reluctant, resigned obedience. When Darius's successors, especially Xerxes I, reigned, the bond between Babylon and Persia weakened further still. Babylonian revolts erupted, fueled by powerful memories of past glories and an enduring yearning for self-rule and independence. Xerxes crushed these rebellions with a heavy hand and a hardened heart, stripping away sacred statues and symbols of Babylonian power, further diminishing the city's standing. Though the city remained outwardly magnificent, an invisible sorrow settled deeply into its ancient stones. Babylon's decline was gentle at first, like the soft erosion of a riverbank, slow and almost unnoticed. Trade continued, and scholars still intently studied the stars, but the city's heart grew quieter with each passing decade. The world around it was changing profoundly. New empires were rising in Greece, in Rome, and across distant lands, shifting the balance of global power. And yet, even as the tides of power shifted and flowed, Babylon's profound influence endured. Its sciences, its laws, its myths, and its dreams had already deeply seeped into the very roots of civilization itself, becoming foundational elements. Its memory was carried forward by every diligent scribe who etched contracts into clay, by every devout priest who gazed watchfully at the stars, and by every ambitious builder who raised towering structures to kiss the heavens. Cyrus the Great, though long gone from the world, had understood something timeless and profound. That the most lasting empires are not those built solely by the sharp edge of the sword, but rather those meticulously built in the hearts and the enduring dreams of people. And so, though Babylon's formidable walls would one day inevitably crumble and its bustling streets fall silent, its indomitable spirit would never truly fade entirely. As the stars spun slowly over the soft, flowing Euphrates, the city still dreamed, its whispers carried across millennia into distant lands and into hearts it would never physically see, influencing them subtly. For empires, no matter how grand, will eventually fall, but ideas live forever, transcending time and space. Part 14. Alexander's Arrival and Babylon's Final Chapters. The world beyond Mesopotamia was in a state of profound flux, continually changing, and the winds of history, once soft and patiently moving, now stirred with a new, increasing swiftness across the ancient plains. Though Babylon stood resiliently beneath the vast, overarching Mesopotamian sky, the delicate threads holding it to life grew perceptibly thinner with every passing year, its long reign nearing its natural conclusion. From the west, a new, formidable force rose. A power unlike anything the old kings and emperors had ever truly imagined. It did not originate from the scorching deserts of Arabia, nor from the rugged highlands of Persia, but rather from the craggy coasts and sunlit hills of distant Greece. At its commanding head was a young, ambitious king whose name would one day echo louder and more resoundingly than the very walls of Babylon itself: Alexander, born in Macedon, and profoundly educated by the great philosopher Aristotle. Alexander was a man of boundless ambition and an incessantly restless spirit. To him, the known world was simply not enough. He dreamed of conquest, not merely for fleeting power, but for eternal, undying glory, the kind of glory that defiantly transcends even death itself. By the time he turned his formidable gaze toward Persia, Alexander had already unequivocally proven himself a military commander of unparalleled genius. He decisively crushed Darius III of Persia, first at Issus and again at Gaugamela, breaking the backbone of the Persian Empire. And with every thunderous victory, the ancient Persian Empire crumbled further and further beneath his relentless feet. Yet, Alexander was not content with merely defeating armies. He sought to truly inherit the very soul of the lands he conquered, to integrate them into his grand vision. Babylon, wise and ancient, awaited his arrival, a prized jewel in the crown of his aspirations. In 331 BC, following the decisive Battle of Gaugamela which shattered the last vestiges of Persian resistance, Alexander marched triumphantly into Mesopotamia. His victorious army approached Babylon not as a devastating wave of destruction, but as respectful guests arriving at a sacred home. The city gates swung open without a fight, a clear sign of peaceful surrender. The citizens enthusiastically welcomed him with offerings of fragrant flowers and joyous songs, recognizing in him not a destroyer, but a new, enlightened ruler, one who, to their relief, respected their cherished gods, their ancient customs, and their inherent dignity. Alexander entered Babylon with humility, making solemn sacrifices to Marduk at Sagila and promptly ordering essential repairs to the long-neglected temples. He was profoundly awed by the city's sheer splendor, the towering ziggurat, the dazzling blue-glazed gates, and the intricate labyrinth of bustling markets humming with an unparalleled vibrancy of life. In many profound ways, he fell deeply in love with Babylon, seeing it not merely as a valuable prize of war, but as a potent symbol of everything he ardently wished to build and achieve within his new empire. He meticulously made plans to establish Babylon as the capital of his new, blended empire, a place where Greek and Babylonian traditions would seamlessly mingle under his rule, fostering a world where East and West met not with violence and discord, but with understanding and mutual respect. But dreams, even those of the greatest kings, are fragile, ephemeral things. In 323 BC, Just as Alexander was diligently preparing new campaigns to the Arabian Peninsula and beyond, he tragically fell ill within the opulent palaces of Babylon. For days, he struggled valiantly against a relentless fever, his devoted commanders watching helplessly as the man they had believed to be invincible withered before their very eyes. Some whispered that he had been poisoned, while others fervently believed it was the gods themselves calling him home before he could challenge their divine domains any further. Having achieved too much, Alexander died at the tender age of 32, his dying whispers reportedly stating that his vast empire should go to the strongest. The immense empire he had so swiftly built crumbled almost immediately into widespread chaos and fragmentation. In the brutal struggle that ensued among his generals, known as the Diadochi, Babylon, beautiful, ancient Babylon, became a mere pawn in their relentless wars. It passed from hand to hand like a sacred relic, too revered and symbolic to utterly destroy, yet too valuable to simply ignore in the power struggle. At first, Seleucus I, one of Alexander's most capable and ambitious lieutenants, took control of Babylon. Seleucus keenly understood its symbolic power and sought to preserve its ancient temples and cherished traditions, even as he simultaneously built new cities, most notably Seleucia on the Tigris, to serve as his new capital and power base. For a time, Babylon remained vibrant and culturally significant, a living bridge between the old world and the new Hellenistic kingdoms rising in Alexander's wake. But gradually, the center of power inexorably shifted. Seleucia's newer, more modern streets drew trade and settlers away from the ancient, time-worn brick lanes of Babylon, eroding its commercial vitality. As decades quietly passed, fewer and fewer pilgrims came to Assyria to worship. Fewer merchants hawked their wares beneath the once bustling Ishtar Gate. The ziggurat, once reverently touched by the hands of kings and gods, stood increasingly abandoned, battered by the relentless forces of time and pervasive neglect, its grandeur fading. The very soul of Babylon began to drift away, like mist dissolving before the rising sun, leaving behind a husk of its former glory. Yet, even in its decline, Babylon maintained a quiet, enduring dignity. Scribes still meticulously recorded the movements of the stars, their dedication unwavering. Priests still diligently tended to sacred fires, even if the congregations grew smaller and smaller. Their faith undimmed. The old rituals continued, whispered like fervent prayers to the fading memory of better, more glorious days. It is said that by the time new empires, the Parthians, the Romans, the Sassanids, rose to power, the once great Babylon was but a scattering of humble villages amidst vast ruins, the ghostly remnants of temples rising like broken teeth from the fertile plains. A poignant reminder of past grandeur. But those ruins, even as they crumbled further into dust, still spoke eloquently. They whispered of kings who had audaciously dreamed of reaching heaven, of miraculous gardens that defied the harsh realities of the desert, and of ancient rivers that carried stories as old as memory itself. They told the enduring tale of a city that had dared to reach for the very stars. And though Babylon's time of imperial dominance had definitively passed, its spirit remained intricately woven into the very fabric of human civilization, an indelible part of our collective heritage. It stands as a powerful reminder that true greatness is never truly lost. It is merely transformed, taking on new forms and influencing new generations. Under the starlit sky, by the slow and steady flow of the Euphrates, Babylon dreamed on, silent, yet eternally present in the human consciousness. Part 15. The enduring echoes of Mesopotamia. As the centuries rolled onward like slow, endless tides, Babylon sank deeper into the realm of memory. Where once proud kings had marched in triumph through shining, majestic gates, and eloquent poets had sung under luminous, starlit skies, now only the wild desert winds roamed freely among the silent ruins. Yet the indomitable spirit of Mesopotamia, the spirit of the world's very first cities, of the first words meticulously carved into clay, of audacious dreams that had dared to touch the heavens, never truly faded into oblivion. It lived on, quietly enduring. The people who remained around Babylon's crumbling walls continued to tend their fields, just as their ancestors had diligently done for millennia, a timeless connection to the land. They drew precious water from the Euphrates, now silted and more wild in its course. Shepherds guided their flocks past the shattered remnants of ancient temples, their bleating sheep oblivious to the history beneath their hooves. Children played innocently among the broken stones, utterly unaware that they were dancing atop the very bones of history itself. A testament to what once was. Time, ever patient and persistent, gradually covered the fallen palaces with layers of dust and encroaching grass. Mud brick walls slowly dissolved under the relentless forces of rain and sun. Great statues toppled from their pedestals, their once distinct faces worn smooth by the ceaseless work of wind and the passage of centuries. The mighty ziggurat of Etemenanke, once believed to reach the heavens themselves, was utterly abandoned. Its ancient bricks were scavenged by successive generations who, in their practical need, prioritized building new homes over preserving old memories. Yet, despite this quiet, gradual decay, Babylon's profound influence rippled outward, carried like seeds on the gentle winds of time, spreading far and wide. The ancient laws of Hammurabi, meticulously carved into stone so many centuries ago, laid fundamental foundations for the legal codes of civilizations yet unborn, profoundly shaping legal thought. The advanced astronomy of Babylon's astute priests, who once meticulously watched the intricate dance of the planets from the sacred rooftops of their temples, guided sailors, scholars, and mathematicians across continents and through countless centuries, providing invaluable celestial knowledge. Their precise measurements of time, their revolutionary division of the day into hours and minutes, still govern the relentless ticking of our modern clocks today, a direct legacy. The myths that were first softly whispered under the wide Mesopotamian skies, tales of devastating great floods, of powerful gods who walked among mortal men, of perilous journeys into the mysterious underworld, were faithfully passed down and retold, weaving their profound way into the sacred texts and enduring storytelling traditions of countless diverse peoples. Echoes of Gilgamesh's valiant quest for immortality can still be distinctly heard in the heroes and seekers of every subsequent age, a timeless narrative of human yearning. Even the powerful image of the tower reaching defiantly toward the heavens, the iconic Tower of Babel, lives on vividly in the collective imagination of humanity, serving as a potent symbol of both soaring ambition and humbling limitation. And through it all, the resonant names of Mesopotamia's great, pioneering cities, Uruk, Lagash, Akkad, Nineveh, Babylon, became more than mere geographical places. They transformed into powerful ideas, potent symbols of humanity's very first, tentative steps toward organized civilization. They serve as poignant reminders of what it truly means to create, to hope, and to perpetually reach beyond what currently exists, toward the boundless possibilities of what could be achieved. Babylon did not vanish with a dramatic clash of armies or a sudden, cataclysmic natural disaster. It faded, rather, in the way a beautiful song gently fades after its last lingering note has been sung. Quietly, elegantly. It left behind an imprint so deep and profound that even when its mighty walls had crumbled to dust, the powerful dream of its existence remained, an enduring inspiration. Centuries later, when the enlightened scholars of the Renaissance diligently dusted off ancient manuscripts, when intrepid explorers and dedicated archaeologists painstakingly dug into the earth, ceaselessly seeking lost cities, it was Babylon and her sister cities they so fervently sought. It was Mesopotamia's guiding light they so deeply longed to glimpse once again, to connect with its ancient wisdom. When the majestic ruins were finally uncovered and broken tablets of cuneiform were carefully pulled from the soil, the ancient, resonant voices of scribes, priests, and kings spoke once more across 3 millennia of profound silence. They spoke of practical taxes and abundant harvests, of fervent prayers and solemn treaties, of captivating myths and timeless wisdom. They spoke of human laughter and profound loss, of tender love and enduring longing, the universal threads of the human experience. In their meticulously etched lines, the very heartbeat of the world's first great civilizations could be heard once more, beating rhythmically. And we listened, intently. Today, though Babylon sleeps peacefully beneath layers of dust and shifting sand, it lives still, not in stone, but in spirit. It lives in every book opened in the tireless search for knowledge. It lives in every law meticulously written in the unwavering pursuit of justice and equity. It lives in every gaze reverently lifted to the stars in profound wonder and contemplation. It lives in the enduring dreams of ambitious builders and lyrical poets. It lives in the vibrant rhythms of cities that pulse with life, and in the ceaseless, inherent human search for meaning that so profoundly defines the human spirit itself. For Babylon was never merely a city of formidable walls and sacred temples. It was, and remains, a city of dreams. As the last golden light of dusk falls over the timeless Euphrates and the first stars gently blink awake in the velvet expanse of the sky, one can almost hear it still, the soft, eternal whisper of Mesopotamia. A gentle lullaby of beginnings, a precious memory that will never truly fade, and a powerful testament to the enduring truth that what we create in hope, in beauty, and in profound wonder lives forever, transcending the boundaries of time and space.